3, 2. Oh my God.
Yo, what's up?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966.
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Welcome back to the show. Really excited about today's guest. He's done it all, from contests to filming, rails, jumps, pipe, backcountry, Alaskan lines, covers, pro models, coaching. He's done it all. We got the legend and the homie, Andrew Burns. How you doing, boss?
So good, I can't even believe it. No, it's great to be here. Now I've doing an airtime with my pal Jody. It's great.
Thanks for making some time.
Honored. I'm still here, so you got me just in time. Getting up there in the years, man.
How old are you now?
Almost 42.
Almost 42.
I'll be 42 in like a couple months. Yeah.
Okay, let's start off with a very simple question. You've been snowboarding for 30 plus years, almost. I'm imagining, correct? Something.
Yeah, a few more than that. Yeah.
Okay, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
Why do you love snowboarding?
That's a great question because it's simple, but not so simple. I think the reason I started snowboarding, I started skiing when I was a little kid in Quebec. Makes sense, right? And I was a little ski racer and going all fast in my little suit, which is really fun. I'm really competitive. Plus, I had like friendship and social as a kid, so I just filtered that into sports more, which is handy. But then my mom, of all people, was like, "Hey, my friend's son's doing this snowboard thing. You should try it out." I'm like, and this is in like the old Burton Air day, like, you know what I mean? Like, this kind of start of snowboarding. It was so fun. It was like a new thing, right? Because ski racing was getting really old and really tiring. And then throughout all these years, decades of snowboarding, even now still, like, there's more to do. There's more to figure out, or there's more to, and it's still just dumb shit like cat track, you know, hit runs are still the funnest thing. So that's why it doesn't get old. And I get tired of shit quickly, I guess, or, you know, I have like, you know, attention and stuff or whatever it is, but it's just still fun. It's always fun.
What makes it
really
fun?
Cool. I don't know. That's it. Just because, like, there's no, I don't know. There's the whole thing with all of my boarding was what my mind could figure out and think that maybe my body could do, and then could I make my body achieve what my brain was, you know, braining about and stuff. And I'll never get there, right? Like, I've definitely maxed out my you know, physical apex of my career, but I think it's just there never seemed to be like a limit. And then like even just the most classic things, like I was taught well by whatever kid taught me, so I learned how to do methods early. It'll still never get old. I've done thousands.
You can do them so different too, you know.
Yeah.
Every year you can kind of alter them.
I've been trying to do that. Yeah, different spots on the board.
You do
tweaks.
nose or in the middle?
Well, I started with like a Tourier method, you know, but then mostly in the middle. I thought if it just locked behind the bindings a little more proper, than try and do a combo of like Euro things. Then there's like the Landvik kind of thing, which I got to stretch a lot if I want to try and achieve that. And you know, then the odd time you grab a boot and it's like,
did anybody see that?
so many fingers.
Photographer's like, yeah, you grabbed your boot.
I mean, at least like through half my career is film, so, you know, I couldn't get like instant shame for it, but, you know, they just throw it out. But and carving, dude, still carving to this day. You know how I ended my year this year? I hurt my shoulder on a Euro carve.
You were digging too deep.
I was just going full out, like, you know, just full face. You're trying to, you know, catch some chin.
Somebody's been hanging out in Japan too long.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. It's still the shit I see there. I mean, I see guys just like full heel 360s.
It's wild. They have a different way of snowboarding. We went there this year. You went there. Actually, every crew I feel like went there because it was such a difficult snow year. But when you are riding up a chairlift and you look under you and you see how everyone's approach there is so different than going to like Breckenridge or Europe or wherever.
Oh, yeah.
You're like blown away by how the turn is like the park there. Everybody is just turning like wide boards, super short, super surfy because they get a lot of snow. But if it doesn't snow, they're just doing like these crazy ass, like, I don't even know what you call them. It's like freestyle. Remember skiing used to be like you do it on flat
ballet.
ground kind of, and it'd
Ski
be like the
ski
ballet.
ballet.
It'd be kind of like snowboard ballet a little bit.
A lot of
Maybe
like
a bad analogy.
A lot of the no, but I mean, well, kind of like the like there's the carvatrons, but then like the like those Korean posses that just do the flatland shit, and they're like, it's in a snowstorm, but they got like these wily shades with like an open vest, and then doing like the like butter nines, reverts, something else, like just. It's perplexing.
It's kind of like
it's
how
so stylish.
But like you were saying, it's all about in those early years of Burns, it was about like looking at a trick. I'm imagining somebody like Kevin Jones, Peter Line, etc. They're inventing new tricks. And then you are like visualizing them in your head being like, could I do that? And you try to break it down in your head.
Yeah.
And the only thing you have is a VCR and you're like, rewind.
Over and over until eventually too many rewinds and the tape glitches because it's stretched out. Dude, so speaking of Peter Line, this conjoins two of my favorite things. Snowboarding, obviously. Well, maybe three. Peter Line's one of my favorite things. And Guar. So that TB4 part with where Guar was a song next year. Guar was on his graphic. I don't know if you remember that part. He all of a sudden, dude, he did like 5 or 6 tricks that like just never existed, never been done. He did this one like back 7, but it was like a straight barrel roll tail grab to flat back 3. I don't know if you remember this.
I don't remember that shot, actually.
There's some crazy shit. It was exactly that. And like all these nines, all the switch stuff. And do you remember the Murphy flip?
No, like Jason Murphy?
Jason Murphy did it, and then Jason Brown, another hero, obviously also did it. Then he did flat back 3 into a cork back 3, but like a front cork. So like a flat 3, and then you just like dive into it. I haven't seen one in 15 years. Yeah, I don't think people realize it existed.
Well, there you go. There's back then, it just seems like everything was happening quick. I mean, we had Dano on the last podcast, and he was saying that in those early years, like 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, like you were mentioning there, TB4, I think was roughly around there, 95 maybe. Like 6 months to a year, things were moving so fast. Like within a 1 year span, like snowboarding would have completely changed.
Dude, it like doubled because I think... Like when I started snowboarding, I mean, any trick of any kind was like kind of a big deal, right? Like we had the legend around like our part of Quebec was like someone could do like almost a 7. There's this guy, and we're like trying to find him for years. But then all of a sudden, I think people, I mean, a lot of it, like those old, as rad as they were, those old Burton boards and those old big, like, glass top board, like they were fucking heavy, man. Like it was hard to just, they didn't do a lot. And then all of a sudden, I think, people both realized but also had like slightly better means, like, oh, wait a minute, there's so much more. Probably boots had a big thing to do with it too. Do you remember back in the day people would always land and do those like kind of slogs because like the Sorels would just not do anything?
Oh yeah,
I had some Sorels when I was a kid because my mom's like, why would you need snowboard boots? That's ridiculous. Here are some Sorels, and they were too wide, so I like shaved down the side of the footbed for it, and I broke my ankle like the next week. So mom's like, okay, we'll get you some
boots
snowboard
with
boots.
some support.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just because I feel like this is a huge part of Andrew Burns, and one that I don't know at all. It's like a different you. Burns going down south for the winters. You've been doing that for a long ass time. You've been going to Argentina for how many years now?
This summer will be number 20.
No, 20 years.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That is
like
crazy.
That's a long time, dude. That's a lot of years.
Take us through 20 years of Argentina. What have you learned about the culture, the riding there? Like, take us through a little bit of the breakdown and why you love it so much, because you keep going back.
Yeah, I do. Dude, it's been so cool. So similar to like a couple different major aspects and like pivotal moments of my life and my snowboard life, is the most random shit in the world. I just got an email, so it would be a little over 20 years ago. I just get an email from this guy, John Wilbur, saying like, yo, dude, I'm running this thing in Argentina. You want to come down and like coach? shit, yeah, of course. So I write him back. I'm like, what do I have to lose here, really? You know, like even ask my mom. I'm like, you know, and this is 20 years ago. So the whole technological situation was
Side
a lot
of
different.
life
Yeah, a lot different. So she's like, you know, get him to buy you a plane ticket, and then from there, whatever happens doesn't matter. So yeah, I tell him like, get me a plane ticket and I'll come down. And I was supposed to go to the New Zealand Open, Burton Open, also that summer afterwards. So I have this crazy travel thing, you know, planned out. So go down to Argentina, get to Argentina. Somehow, for some reason, I booked a flight to Chile. Not helpful. Wrong country.
You flew to the wrong country?
I flew to the wrong country.
Yo, Burns, you got to come up to Canada. You just fly to the States?
Yeah, pretty much, man. I was talking to Conway. My best friend, John Conway. I grew up, you know, the legendary.
Shout out.
Moose hat, dude. The moose hat.
Punk-ass Canucks.
Love the guy. So, I don't know. He mentioned something about Chile, and I just, instead of checking and do like, this is like a for all on birds move, I'm just like, wow, yeah, John said something about Santiago. I'll fly there. So I get to Santiago, and there's no phone, you know, there's no smartphones, there's no cell phone, it's hard to get a hold of people. So I fucked that one up. So I'm like, okay, I got to get to Argentina. Second thing I fucked up, I didn't bring a English-Spanish dictionary. Would have been helpful. 20 years ago, no one in South America spoke English. So I'm like struggling. Get to a bus station. Bus station in Santiago still is like a sketchy-ass place. So I got through that, got across the Chilean border. I got almost got taken down by military at the border because I had to pee so bad I didn't know how to say bathroom. So when we got into like the little military, you know, border check, I just sprinted out of the van. So they ran after me and then laughed at me when they realized I was just peeing and not.
You're like, yo, listen, I have type 1 diabetes. I have to pee.
Well, I didn't have it then yet.
Oh, shit.
But I had no excuse. Then I get to this other bus station in Argentina, and I'm trying to find someone to help me because I'm hungry. I'm frustrated. I'm like, you know, and I'm going around and, you know, like a couple words. I'm like, hablo means speak. So I'm going around like asking people if they speak English. I'm like, hablo inglés, hablo inglés, hablo inglés. Everyone's just looking at me like, it seems like they understand me, but I'm an idiot. Well, it turns out I was actually saying, like, with the conjugations, I was saying, I speak English. Like, yeah, you dumb fucking gringo. Of course you do. So a couple hours of that. And I'm dragging around, like, snowboard gear and all this shit for, like, a 2-month trip. 5 days later, I make it to Las Leñas. And I couldn't get a hold of John Sang this whole time, who I've never even spoken on the phone to. I finally get there. It was so cool. It was so foreign to me. It was so different but amazing. The mountains, the snow there are awesome. People are awesome. Barbecue is amazing. So
are they big on barbecues?
Asado, Argentine asado. So all the meat there is just really, really good. I think just because like all the cows in the country are happy little free range cow, but they slow cook the shit out of everything on wood call and like Laney's wood or like hardwood. Dude, oh fuck,
it sounds so good.
Oh yeah, I'm waiting for it. That's like, I mean,
that's why you're going back.
Yeah, I just go for the meat.
They got top level meat.
Yeah, top level meat. Top level wine.
Is it saucy or is it salty?
No sauce. They don't. They just do a little salting before and then just slow cook the shit. I mean, there's like chimichurris and stuff like that, but dude, it's just like finger off the barbecue. And also in big slabs. It's not like you get little steaks. Like just do like full lomos or full skirts or full. They're not fucking around.
What kind of veg do they do down there?
I don't know. Pretty same. You know, some peppers, carrots. Yeah, some roots. Pretty. You know.
I didn't know, like, because you know when you go to, like, Japan or you go to, like, Thailand, it's, like, the veggies get pretty, like, you're like, whoa, I'm from Canada.
Oh, yeah. They get very exciting. Very exciting.
Totally.
You're, like, really not sure if, like, you got to poke it.
Yeah, totally. You get a fruit in, like, Bali, you're like, what is this thing?
And then, dude, the people are sick. I mean, I spent so much time there and friendly. And I learned, and that's how, and, like, so I got forced into learning Spanish very quickly because I had absolutely no choice.
Can you speak Spanish at all right now?
Yeah.
Hit us with one sentence in Spanish.
Gusta ir a Argentina para surfear la nieve.
Oh, that was dope, Burns. Yeah.
Y cocinar asado, charlar con las chicas.
I don't know what you said.
Eating some food, talking with chicks.
Sick.
Yeah. A little wine.
Wicked. Getting prepped for your trip.
I got pretty good. It was easier to learn back then because there was no like that was just it. I was helpless until I could learn. So it goes along with French pretty good. But going back to the whole thing you're asking at the start, why do I keep going back there? It's just, dude, it's like a second home to me. I mean, in 20 years, I've spent, typically there 2 to 3 months. I've spent an enormous portion of my life there. My birthday's in the summer when I'm there, so I've had my birthday there for 20 years, which is really cool. And then, and yeah, the whole guiding stuff we did. So that was the first real year of SAS, SAS Global Travel. It's surf and snow sessions. It used to be South American snow sessions, but we do surf shit now. But yeah, I've got some of my best friends. We go down there, we run a guiding op, we guide, we shred, we film. Conway's been a part of it. Boley's been a part of it. Fucking who else? Lots of people.
Doesn't Chris Coulter work down there?
Coulter did for a while, which is amazing because Coulter is one, as you can imagine, with my style of snowboarding. He was one of my favorites, dude. Just
I love Chris
so
Coulter.
burly. And then he came down with like Andreas Vig and maybe it was like Pat Cameron, but the Vans crew a long time ago. And because we would also facilitate team trips, we did a lot of shit for like Dakine, Roxy, Burton, like whatever, just to facilitate fucking film trips or catalogs or whatever. And
You guys were the Sheen of the South.
Yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. And that's how we gripped onto a lot of people, like Chris, as an example. So I was so stoked to meet him, hang with him, and like I've had posters of you. He ended up like working with me, and it was just such a trip. He's the shit, man, dude. He's like a really, really close friend. He's been really supportive and positive, extraordinarily helpful as like a mentor for all like the guiding stuff. Landing something, Coulter high fives. He is pretty freaking sick too.
Totally.
If you look back actually at Coulter, dude, someone was even asking recently, dude, some of his shit they did 10 plus years ago is still some of the biggest shit that's ever been done.
Like his shit didn't he? What part was insane?
Is that Coulter? Dude,
the dog's like humping his leg at the beginning, I think.
Was that?
Yeah,
dude. He's a gem, but he's still. Someone's even asking me about. I think it was dude. Leyland actually was like a month ago or something, a month and a bit ago, somewhere sledding in Utah, and he took a picture and asked if like, is this that fucked up road gap that Coulter hit? And I texted back, I'm gonna ask Chris right now. Coulter, you didn't message me back, bro.
It is,
but I
that
think
gap.
it was. Dude,
it is.
That's insane.
I texted
that
him
cab
too.
9 is
Huge downhill takeoff, downhill build too. So like weird jump, but like not a jump that I would want to rebuild. But the fact that he built that and hit that is insane.
Yeah, dude. I was so stoked. That'll get reposted every so often. I blow him up about it. I'm like, dog, that's what I'm talking about. No, but he's amazing.
How are the mountains down there?
I mean, they're epic. They're probably a little more like interior. They're really, really rocky. The terrain's really spiry, really aggressive. So like, that in itself is really cool. You get to ride past these big towers or through these, these crazy walled up couloirs and stuff. But they actually have some of the best tree riding I've ever done in my life. Literally.
Damn.
Most of the resorts in South America are all above tree line, but where we're at in Bariloche, dude, I'm trying to think of better tree riding. It's all like extremely sparse old growth that's steep as fuck and with like bounces
Spaced
up.
out.
It's so sick. Yeah.
Sorry, one more time, because there's definitely some people that probably want to head south. At one point, it's called Bariloche. We're gonna blow it out.
Yeah,
Shit, maybe we should.
No, I mean it's kind of Bariloche.
Is it like the Niseko of the South America?
Yeah, essentially. I mean it's the biggest resort in South America.
So we're not blowing out shit.
No, we're not blowing it out. I mean that's the thing with South America. It's kind of cool is dude, 99% of the people on the mountain are like beginner, like full beginner. All this like most of the South American tourism that goes to mountains, they like haven't seen snow, so and this goes along with another South American favorite, dude, they just party. Like there's 30 different lodges on this mountain where like people are literally just doing hut tours, just getting bombered, and like the party scene down there is next level.
No way.
Yeah, it's fucked up, dude. They go till 6-7 in the morning easily.
That's kind of like Europe too. Like you go to you
late.
take somebody from the States or from Canada to Europe, or at least a couple times that I've been there, more than a couple now. But like, it's 12, 1 o'clock. That's when you first start drinking. Really,
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
like you're drinking around like after dinner. Then you're thinking of going out at midnight, and then you go to the clubs at like 2. We're I'm hopefully in bed at like 1.
Oh God, yeah. Ideally, that's what got me in huge trouble the first time I went down there too. The night before I finally got to my destination, I met up with these Argentines and went out, and we got out at like 12. So I'm thinking like, also it's the first time I was with another. I was like relaxed, just like throwing them down, and then I remember being like, dude, what the fuck is going on? How am I this drunk? Well, it's because it's 10 to 7 in the morning. So the last 3-hour drive from San Rafael to Las Leñas took like 4 hours because I had to stop 4 times to puke everywhere. Like, fucking gringo. But they don't drink like us, though, either. I mean, it's not that they don't drink aggressively, but I feel like the North American mentality is like, get them in you as fast as humanly possible because you only have like this amount of time,
What's the drink down there? Beer and
Ooh.
something else? What is it?
Obviously wine, but Fernet Branca. It's delicious, but it's aggressive to some people. It originated in Italy. The Italian version of Fernet's a lot different. It's like it's more bitter, but it's the the official or whatever, the drink of Argentina. It's made from like artichokes, saffron. It's like imagine a really herby, earthy Jaeger.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think I'm down.
Like
that sounds nice.
It's delicious.
Is it served cold or room temp?
Yeah, they mix it with Coke, like a Fernet and Coke. We started mixing it with pomelo, grapefruit soda, which is delicious. It makes a really unfortunate shade of brown when you're drinking it.
You're going poo brown on us.
Yeah, just your average. Yeah, that's it. That's the color it is. But that's good. I just like it straight. It's delicious. I don't drink very much anymore for various reasons. Not bad, just how it happened. Like kind of fortunate with it.
With the health stuff?
Yeah, my body with like the diabetes and fucking autoimmune stuff and everything. My body it doesn't agree with me sometimes, which is fine.
Don't you have like a small liver or something too?
One kidney,
but
it's a big one.
Yeah, so you're doing the right thing. If you're served up a storm of like autoimmune, diabetes, one kidney,
Yeah, I'm trying to,
you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, and it's just it's happenstance, right? Like I don't mind one bit, and if I'm rejecting it, and it's there's the odd time though. Every couple months I'll get drunk. I think the last time, I remember this time with the boys, we went play wiffle golf in Lost Lake, and I got on one, and it took me like 2 days to figure out where my truck was because it's always at home, and I forgot that I really got going. I think like at one point, E-Man was looking at me. I just like fell over in the woods for no reason.
It's time to go home, Burns.
No. It's time to bring me up. It's time to go for more. Let's go big. But I just had no idea where my truck was for like 2 days. So.
Oh, well, we're glad you're not drinking because clearly you weren't excelling in that department.
Depends how you look at it. Depends.
Totally.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you were really excelling.
I'm winning.
Sometimes I think that like humans are going to look back at like this time frame, like because I've heard that the reason why people used to drink so much to begin with is because it was cleaner than the water.
Yeah.
So now that the water is actually like we can filter it and make it good, at one point do you think like humans are just going to be like, yeah, drinking liquor is insane? Like, because we all know it's like if liquor just got invented right now and your friend went out and drank like, 12 beers and then told you that they blacked out, they slept with their best friend's wife, they puked everywhere, they got up in the morning and they were sick for 24 hours, and you'd be like, damn, I don't really think I want to partake in that.
I think it would depend like strictly on whether or not you heard about it or you saw it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes when you hear about it, it's like, oh, that sounds so bad. But when you're watching, you're like, damn, this is good. Everyone's got to do this.
But eventually, you got to make decisions for yourself.
Yeah.
You got to be like, do I like drinking or do I not like drinking? And then that's kind of a you thing. You know what I mean?
Sometimes you got to trip before you fall.
That is true.
I don't know what that means.
Yeah, me neither. We don't know if that actually applies here, but we're going to keep that in.
Yeah, well, prove me wrong.
I also feel like maybe that analogy I did with drinking wasn't the best because it's sometimes if you take a substance and you do it correctly, like the right amount, like a nice 2 glasses of Argentinian wine with what was the meat called again?
Oh, just any meat, but like some like a nice asado. That's the
asado.
barbecue.
So
asado.
a nice asado with 2 glasses of red wine. Are they red down there mainly?
They're the inventors of Malbec.
Wow.
So you can get like a $50 bottle of Malbec for like $10. So that's also, that factors in nicely to my, and plus guiding every day. So like, our guiding op, we guide for 4 to 6 weeks. Exceptional. Clients are very good about,
treating you.
Yeah. We got to earn it. I think it's rude to expect a tip, but earn it.
You earn it. And then sometimes they give you the $50 bottle of wine down there, which is like a $250 bottle of wine here.
Yeah. Last year,
the good stuff.
Last year I had a awesome client pushing him a lot. What was his name? He's Dr. Well, anyways, on a river crossing, he tripped up and was hanging upside down by his skis on the bridge with his head in the water, and pulled him out.
So you saved his life.
Yeah, that's what they're paying us for. One of the things. That usually not water rescue in a ski program, but he got us some nice wine though. I said he didn't have to. He's like, no.
I do. If
you
guys weren't there, I would have drowned.
That happens again. I need you.
Yo, hey, doctor over there, you gotta bring water wings next time.
That was the flukiest thing I ever seen. But it was like right out of basically a cartoon. Just like little simple crossing, but just all tired legs looped out. Then all of a sudden, I was with, Chase Josie? Must know Chase Josie. Pipe rider, U.S. pipe rider.
I know the name.
Okay. Most underrated snowboarder, period. I'm biased. I love him. Dude, he's so good. And he's so nice and he's so good at everything. He's so rad. People don't know. He started a couple of years ago or some years ago. He would drop in, for his first hit was double Michael Chuck. So it was switch. I don't even think people knew he was dropping switch, but obviously the judges did. But like all of his runs, he would try. He was going for the W, and it was so technical. There would always be some, not always. He's got a lot of shit under his belt, and he's goes to the Olympics. But dude, he's so good. So he was. This is a great summer story. He came down when he was 18 with some other kids from Jackson as camper, little camper at SAS. And these fucking kids I love, dude. It's similar like when you get those kids at Camp of Champions where you're just like, oh, you dirty little bugger. I'm gonna put you in the place. Yeah, they just need to be put in the place. So like I lined this kid up with some backcountry jumps, and he's like, back tanning them, all this stuff. Yeah, he's so good. He rides for Capita as well.
Sick.
But then he came back, and then he's been interning. Now he's one of our guides. Works for us like full time. It's so rad.
You got SAS down there. Then you had Camp Champions.
Dude.
Did you ever attend Camp Champions as a camper? When was your first time maybe attending? Because I coached there with you. We've had a lot of good times there.
The best. So this is a wild story actually that I didn't even, up until a year ago, I didn't even process this. I was over at Rick's one night with, a bunch of the homies. One of the younger kids, that's relative to, my age, asking me about, somehow we got into Camp of Champions. Like, well, when did you start coaching? I was like, dude, I was like 15. He's like, what? That's not, they do that? I'm like, actually, no, they don't. He's like, well, how did that happen? So I went there when I was 13. Got to meet Craig Kelly because his camp was right next to it, actually. Actually, quick side note. So they're digging the pipes by hand, right, back then. And I was just all antsy in my pantsy. Well, I didn't realize it was separate camps because they were next to each other. I was after 3 days of hand digging a pipe, I was the first little idiot to drop into the Craig Kelly camp half pipe, and I wasn't even in the camp.
Hell yeah, brother.
Well, what that happened. But no, so I went there when I was 13. It was like just the wildest experience of my life. It was so sick. Then I wanted to go when I was 14, but I got kicked out of school for smoking weed. So I was grounded for like a year. Fair enough. Especially back then. Fair enough. Then went back when I was 15 and I stayed for a week. And then Ken Achenbach, legend, founder, awesome dude, Kenny Longstick, Kenny Longpole. Dude, he just asked me if I wanted to stay the rest of the summer and teach me how to coach. That was like a training year. So that would have been 97. So homie at Rick's was asking me like, how'd that happen? I'm like, dude, I don't know. I don't even know how Ken back then talked to my mom into putting me on a plane to go out to camp, and then everything else. And then I definitely was a little shit and probably should have got kicked out of camp, but it was long enough ago. So it was kind of an aggressive warning, but No, that changed everything. Actually, the whole like Punk Ass Canucks, my first like just rep sponsor. Conway got the because I met Conway, John Conway, grew up in Ottawa with me, but I actually met him at Camp of Champions. Like it all happened because Ken, for some reason, just decided to like. You know, what my first photo in a magazine was. It was 1996, Trans World, Camp of Champions ad.
What? What were you doing?
Frontside air in the half pipe. I was a pipe kid.
So okay. One thing I want to touch on is, you were a pipe kid.
Yeah.
You're at camp. You went in like 96. You poached Craig Kelly camp. You stay. You go to camp. Camp Champions, I think, ended in 2017.
Yeah.
You were there the whole time.
Yeah, I had a couple years for injury or something like that. That I was here and there. Yeah.
Camp of Champions went through some wild rail phases. They built some crazy pieces of steel. Like a bunch come to mind in my head, but do you remember it? Like, what's one or two features that they made that you were like, wow, this piece of steel is crazy? Because even the C rail was like oversea.
C rail was insane. That was funny, just getting pitched off of there, watching people getting pitched off of that or crashing to the side. Definitely the wildest looking one was the flat rainbow flat. You remember that thing?
Yeah.
I saw Jay Brown do something like just survive through it. He did like up and then just like pivot 180 switch off. Then there was when Capita first started. This was like right before I luckily got on Capita when they started. But you remember they had those down flat downs when they were starting to build all the square rails, and TJ Schneider was just doing those ridiculous gaps at the end. I don't think gapping that far to rails had really occurred to people yet.
I think in Afterbang, TJ has a bunch of gap twos that I remember being like a kid, and it had already kind of happened by then, but I remember being like pretty blown away by his skills on that shit.
And at the shakedowns, he was doing like, switchback fours onto those flat downs and stuff like that. And that was probably 2000. Yeah, probably even 2000. What I'm trying to think. What rails stand out to you? I'm trying to think of like what else.
Well, the jankiest one I ever remember was that there was a teeter-totter rail that was massive, and it was like, I just remember kids like being like, I'm gonna front board this rail in the morning, thinking it's just an up rail, and it like being like, boom,
fall apart on or like smash them.
And then sometimes it wouldn't go back to its regular position, so somebody would have to go adjust it to pull the nose down.
Death stab.
Yeah, totally.
Dude, there's also on the double that like flat rainbow flat. Do you remember that one they had that was like a waterfall?
Yeah, with a really big like a dragon's tail or a dinosaur.
Yeah, like
tail.
a dino tail.
Yeah, like the cartoon like jumping down like the mom's dino tail kind of vibe.
Yeah, it's Flintstones
stuff. Vibe.
Oh my god.
Do you have a standout Camp of Champions moment?
Well, there's a couple that come to mind. There was, those like TJ, those gaps, and also there's a really good quarter pipe that year. Cale Stevens missing the airbag when they first had an airbag, so it was all super small, and then me right after him knocking myself the fuck out from the whiplash. First time I ever hit airbag, never again. That was gnarly. Here, you tell me. Maybe another one will pop in my head here.
We had a camper hit an airbag, and it was the first time that the airbag was at Camp of Champions.
Yeah.
And I just didn't. All I was told was put a helmet on.
Yeah.
And the kid put a helmet on, but he wears sunglasses, and his sunglasses broke, and they were like metal or something, and they cut open his like whole eye.
Oh, he got all stabbed.
He got all fucked up, dude. I felt so bad. And then one year, Chris Duffy on the hip did a cab 10 over the entire hip at the top, off the toes. There's a video of it somewhere.
I wonder when that was. Was it
probably shirtless too?
Yeah, that would make sense.
And it was like, I was like, damn, this homie is so like already a legend. And that was kind of like, I think he had just passed his option. I think he was riding for Signal. Like it was like later in his career. It was like pretty buck. Oh, it was buck. Cab 10 off the toes. Who does that?
Yeah, over a hip. Although that reminds me of Dave 410 too. These off the toes guys have issues, man. It's great.
If you spin off the toes, you're kind of a savage. You're kind of like got some Chris Coulter vibe or something. Like you're a psycho. Like Dave 410 was a great plug there. Like I remember, or El Show going over the hip at Grouse. that front seven that kind of like put him on the map.
Front seven nose, is that right?
I think it was Melon that day.
Melon?
Maybe it was nose.
Oh yeah, dude, those are good. I learned how to spin off the toes front side, and of all places at Camp Champions, I discovered it didn't matter how I couldn't get past 7 ever, no matter how hard I spun. And then when I started riding powder, I just ended up going to the heels, I guess, switching over the heels. I don't know.
That made sense. I feel like there was a point there where spinning off the toes was cool and then it became not cool. Like when I first moved to town, Robin Taylor spun off the toes all the time. And then one year he just switched. And it was like, there was like a year where it was like trending, and then it became like a thing where it was like, oh, that's like kind of what the old guys do.
I think it was much harder to make it look good.
Oh, off the toes.
That's the thing. It can look
really good.
Yeah.
For a lot of people. Like I think of this one shot of Turner. What was it, Mike Turner?
Yeah, dude, I worked at Mongolian Grill.
Yeah, Mike Turner. He has a shot in
sick.
like Reflections or Fast Food, one of those Alterna films, and I'm pretty sure he has like a front 9 or front 7 off the toes. And I remember being like, that guy knows how to do it.
That guy
knows. He looks sick. All right, we got 8 questions for you presented by Baldface. These are just to quickly get to know you.
Baldface.
Shout out to Baldface.
JP, man, what a guy.
All right, first question is favorite band at the age of 18.
Favorite band at the age of 18? I struggle with favorite band stuff, but within the top 3, Slayer, and Slayer, Lamb of God, and Pennywise.
Good picks. First concert.
Dude, first concert was Sick of It All, who they had some shit in some really old fucking snowboard movies. Great Kind of Punks. I was Sick of It All and AFI.
No way.
Yeah.
That's my
really
first
good.
concert.
And like old AFI. Like they were is exceptional, actually.
Favorite subject in school.
Well, I mean, PE obviously, but you know what? This sounds stupid, but math. I was a little math whiz, so I liked it and I was good at it, and it helped me get through high school really fast.
What's 9 times 7?
9 times 7, 63.
Correct. That was the fastest answer we've got yet.
Really? I thought I was answering slow. Jeez, that's terrible.
What were you super into as a child, like outside of snowboarding, skateboarding?
Music, but honestly, any sport, literally any sport I could get my hands on, whether it was solo sports, team sports, whatever, just like running around or throwing shit at shit.
Nice.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Burns had energy.
Oh yeah. My parents would make me run around the house a bunch of times before they'd feed me dinner.
What job did you think you were gonna do when you were really young?
Air Force, fighter pilot.
Was it because of a movie?
No, but the movie sure helped. But no. I actually.
It wasn't because of Top Gun.
No, it wasn't. Believe it or not, but that expedited it. No, that was actually a thing. And I still if I had the money, I would get obviously a pilot license, but like a heli license. I would do that immediately.
All right. What was your first job?
First real job, not working for my parents, was building decks with my girlfriend's dad.
Damn, that came in handy.
That came in really fucking handy.
Yeah, dude. Trades is good, dude. Get your kid on the tools.
Yeah, it's helpful.
First car.
First car was a 97 Chrysler New Yorker.
What's that? I don't even know what that is.
It's kind of like it's like a sedan, kind of like an Oldsmobile kind of thing or whatever, the old boxy car.
I feel like, did it come in maroon?
This one was a nice, like a royal blue.
Ooh, royal blue was popping back then too. You know the maroon though? Every car was maroon.
I know exactly. Yeah.
95 to like 97, every car just came as maroon.
Some shade, Then there's like the off shade for the, the canopy.
The coolest thing about old cars, like I'll never forget, like my friend Chris drove an Oldsmobile and it had like it was like a couch in the back with ashtrays.
Yep.
And it felt like you were hanging out like on a couch from the 70s.
That's what the New Yorker was. Even
so comfy.
We drove it across the country and it was that's what it was, man. Like not didn't handle that great, didn't whatever, but it's just like soft. It was like the
wasn't
old,
the best if you got in an accident, but it was comfy.
It's like the old snowmobiles, man. Absolute dog shit where you needed it, but man, just riding a lazy boy on the cat track.
First snowboard.
First snowboard was a Burton Air 156. It was the red with and it had that on the nose. It had like a fly with like little four corners around it, and I'm pretty sure it was 3 strap bindings.
Ew. Ow. Painful.
That plus the Sorels, yeah.
That's why you broke your ankle.
Yes, that is why I broke my ankle.
3 straps,
100%.
1 ankle.
3 straps, 1 ankle, Sorels, and a board that would be too much board for me now.
All right, we got a little bit of a shout outs. I reached out to one of your friends, close friends, an absolute the king, one of my favorite snowboarders of all time, Brian McClatchy.
McClatchy.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Love McClatchy. We've had some times.
Yeah. I hit him up and he actually had some pretty rad stuff to say. So this is kind of long-winded, but I condensed this because it was really long.
I'm excited.
But bear with me, everybody. This is there's some gold. Burns and I grew up together north of Ottawa. Burns clearly lived for snowboarding. He was incredibly versatile, never made an excuse, and was always pushing his limits. He was the first person I saw do a switchback 7, and he could spin all ways before anybody comfortably. He was completely fueled by tobacco, weed, candy, and passion. He was a motivator, a leader, and somebody everybody wanted to go on trips with because of how dialed he was, and he could stomp anything. He was also the first person I ever saw kickflip over the pyramid at the Whistler skate park.
Yeah.
Burns had raw, undeniable talent, similar to Jeeves. Riding with him was always such a pleasure. From rail trips to Ottawa to sledding in the BC backcountry, we worked together at Mongoli Grill in the golden era.
Oh, yeah.
At one event, Sean White won after arriving last minute. Valet dropped off at the bottom of the course with a beautiful snowboard bunny. Mammy swag. We also did a slopestyle contest at Tremblant. The team was stacked, and Burns stood out. He won a bottle of champagne and calmly opened it and drank the whole thing instead of spraying it everywhere. Burns also filled a hotel bathtub with beer using his prize money and sharing with everybody. Proud of you, Burns.
That's awesome, man. That means a lot. McClatchy, what a guy.
Did anything ring a bell there from back in the day with Brian? I mean, he touched on a couple different things, but like the Sean White story, I know that you did contests a lot.
So one of the couple concentrated moments where my boys were looking out for me was I showed up to 1 or 2 contests after probably being at a rave the night before.
Being at a rave the night before. Sleeping in a snowbank during practice and still winning it. And Conway and McClatchy were both like, dude, you need to go out west and like do something with this. This is not ideal. I'm like, it's too easy. I mean, I sound conceited, but you know what I mean? They're like, dude, come on. Like, come on. Actually I had a couple of those like that. That was just in this spot, man. I just like learned some stuff that, worked, but dude, I was a product of the people around me. This is actually something I really wanted to talk about. Like my snowboard career, yeah, I'm older. Yeah, my body's tattered. But one of the main reasons it kind of like fizzled away, or it's not what it was. It's the people I'm surrounded by. It's no offense to the people I'm surrounded by now, but dude, having Conway, McClatchy, like punk ass Canucks, dude, Belzile, grown up riding with E-Man, of course. Then like all of you guys, dude, people like, dude, I want to give a specific shout out to Colin Dewat. Aside from Stoke, the amount of like that year, my, kind of best riding the Capita part, Dewat just like filmed me and helped me like the whole year. I had a lot of friends that I never would have been able to even have a chance of trying the stuff I was doing or do any of the stuff I was doing without friends being there to help me and be stoked and be with me. And I feel like like bully you for the list. I'll never be able to say everyone that's involved, because it's like literally everyone, like as a single entity, nothing, useless, being with these people that motivate me, that help me, that, push me, that,
It's funny, McClatchy mentioned that kickflip over the fucking pyramid. I was eating so much shit. I gave up like 3 times, but him and E-Man were just like not having it. They're like, fuck you, dude. Just keep, you know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And I'm sure with like, you know, Rusty, Bells, all those guys, you can relate. I mean, it's funny. It's like an individual sport, but it couldn't be farther from an individual sport. You know what I mean? Well, and as an aside, dude, McClatchy, the things I watch McClatchy do and his stoke and just the smiles on his face, like, and just pure like desire. Same thing. He fucking miss you, Brian. Miss you. Love you, dog.
Brian is one of the coolest humans I have ever met, and
Yeah.
he's one of the best snowboarders I've ever gotten to ride with.
Almost before his time, you know, like the, you know, nollie or fake yellow, like backlips or fucking hard way back twos, all that stuff. Like, I don't think people even kind of totally realized what they were seeing. You know what I mean?
When he did the fakey hard way back 270 onto a down rail before anybody could even back lip properly, it was just like, it was insane.
Dude, and he did not like, I mean, it didn't take him that many tries, but he did not just like kind of do it. Like diving into stairs to do it. Like, you know, dude, jeez, man. He was really good at taking his mitts too, obviously. That's a big part of snowboarding too, right? Is being able to take some of the punishment you put yourself through, you know?
When you see somebody that's like really good, or that's even filmed a really good clip, there's a little bit of a like, yeah, you've eaten a lot of shit too, eh?
Oh yeah, and gotten through it though, and because like it's such a fine line. Like, it's actually a Devin quote. I'm sure lots of people have mentioned this. I've said it to so many people, but from like forever ago, he said like, if you like on a backcountry jump, if you butt check or backslap 3 times in a row, you're just not trying to land it. If you get 3 backs in a row without going forward, it's like you're not even giving yourself a chance, you know?
So true. Like if you land on your back foot a bunch and you're not going over the nose, the problem is you're not committing.
No.
If you are hitting a handrail and you go off 5 times to the right, you need to one time go
You
off
gotta
into
fall
the
up.
stairs.
Yeah, you have to.
And then it just switches
and then
your
you
mind.
get the middle of it. Yep.
And that's when the magic kicks in. I wanted to touch on another event. I was digging through the old YouTube videos and came across you at an event that I thought would have been super special. You were at the Red Bull Heavy Metal Rail Jam.
Yeah, the second one in Portland. Talking about falling downstairs, buddy.
Who was there? How did you get the invite? That must have been mind-blowing.
That's exactly what it was. I was down in Vancouver at like a No Limits party when Des Price was Des.
Shout out Des.
Shout out Des. When Des was team manager, and somehow Steph LaRiviere, the guy that ran Punk Ass Canucks, my rep, my homie, somehow he was out there too from East Coast, and we're partying whatever, and then Steph gets a phone call from Blue. And he's like, Seth Hewitt had like pulled out or he got hurt or something like that. And Blue was like, Steph, you have to get Burns to Portland like tomorrow morning. And I'm like all wasted, you know, like whatever. And
At another rave?
it didn't, you know, I mean.
I might have been at a rave the night before. You
rave.
might have been at a rave?
I was definitely at a rave. Yeah, dude, no, it didn't even like really compute when like Steph was like, yeah, and this was when Blue was, and you know, I really appreciate Blue for a lot of reasons, but this is also a point when Blue was like kind of evaluating where I was at, and basically he did a couple of those things where he put me on the spot where like I think if I had like, I don't know if I should, you know, that would have defined where I was going kind of thing. But so my mind was blown. We went down there. Savage sharp brick stairs. And like, I was hitting rails back then, but I mean, this was, you know, do you remember that one? Like the down, flat down was aggressive.
So aggressive. What's his name?
Tumbled. Kyle Clancy.
Kyle Clancy front boarded on that thing. That was insane.
That was insane.
Danny Cass had a good clinic on that thing.
I did a couple things. I rolled down those stairs 3 or 4 times for sure.
Nice move.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good. I got up. You only have 45 minutes. operating. But that was so fun. That was wild. I mean, there's Travis Parker was there with wearing the football gear. Clancy, like I don't even know. Everyone was there. Everyone was there. Who else was Simone
Mark
was there?
Frank,
of course.
I think.
He wasn't. I don't.
Or was that
maybe
the
he
other
at-
one?
The next one was at Salt Lake, and I ended up getting invited to the next one because I did well enough. There was a gap rail there that was pretty cool. I did a couple of things. I did Cab 2sev. Stoked.
Dang.
I got a full page in Snowboarder mag. They labeled it Jimmy Tomer. Not a full page, half page.
They named it somebody else?
Jimmy Tomer. Yeah, he was a homie that rode for Genius.
You're like, thanks.
Yeah, I was working at the grill, and like one of the dudes is like, "Yo, I got to show you something, but you don't freak out." I'm like, "Where's this going?" Pulls out a snore mag. So you got this photo. I'm like, "What the hell is in my mind?" And then I see the name, I'm like, "What the fuck?" But that's okay. I knew Jimmy, and he actually like sent me a message. He's like, "Thanks, bro."
Really helped my career.
Yeah, thanks.
Because back then, that's a big deal.
Dude, well, back then that was also like, that was a big deal, but that was also good photo incentives.
Did you get photo incentive, or did you get screwed on that?
Yeah, no, of course I didn't get photo incentives.
Because it was the wrong name. So the magazine that made the mistake cost you money.
That's okay. I wouldn't trade it for what I was stoked I had in there. No, that was wild. That was like probably one of the biggest events I've been a part of up to that point, other than some of the old Vans Triple Crowns and like US Open when I was a pipe kid and stuff. But that was cool. And then all the stairs I fell down, dude, I couldn't walk for like a week. I was in so much pain.
I could only imagine falling down those stairs, and then Danny Cass and Kyle Clancy and Travis Parker are walking up beside you, and you're like, I'm going to keep going. Cab over 270.
Oh, yeah, no, even I'd never board slid a down flat down. That was the first one, and that's why I kept catching and going down, like, and just crumpling, not even cartwheeling or rolling. Like you probably find it somewhere, literally one of these, like at the bottom, like, like just into like a little pile. But yeah, I didn't want to look like an asshole.
You didn't look like an asshole. You killed it.
That'd be the worst thing. You get invited to this big thing. Here's your big chance, and just
totally. And you
my
mentioned
chance.
Blue there, kind of helping facilitate that big opportunity. And I think when your team manager, or I don't know, whoever at the time provides you with that opportunity, like you were saying, you either take it or you don't, and that kind of lets them know where you stand. So you mentioned Blue there. You've mentioned Capita a couple times. You mentioned Jason Brown.
Yeah.
Let's talk on Capita for a bit and like how Capita started, your relationship to them, and I mean you're still repping their shit. I think you saw you wearing a Capita hoodie in here. So
I am again.
So
I had a little hiatus, but
hey, sometimes that needs to happen, you know.
Well, right now all I've been concerned about is just riding the boards that I like the most, and I had some input with like the DOA. But that's the perfect board for me. The boards are amazing. Unions are easy. But honestly, just like, I'm very grateful I hit up Blue last year. I'm like, dude, I just want to be happy with my feet and stuff. And he'd always said, like, it's a long story again, but he'd always said, you're Capita for life, dude. You gotta, there's certain choice you have to make at certain times, and whatever. So I'm very, very happy about that. But no, Capita started, Jason Brown's, I feel stupid. I can't remember which Mac Dog movie, but
Amp.
the last part with Burton, but he had a Capita shirt on at the end.
Not that one.
No, it's the one where it's like a stop motion in black and white of him just going down the street, and then his pops is in it with him. Well, anyway, he's riding in Camp Champions. He's got an Ottawa 67s.
I think that's Amp.
Is it Amp?
Maybe. I think he's in tech. The parts that pop into my mind right now are tech diff and Amp.
I think it was actually technical difficulties.
Okay.
I think it was that one. But so Punk Ass Canucks, Steph, and he did, he was repping, whatever, all these companies back then, like Arson and GNU and whatever. Somehow all of a sudden Jason Brown was in Ottawa talking to Steph before the first boards came out. So Punk Ass Steph got Capita as a company. I was just all over it. And that was like literally the summer that TJ was riding Capitas at Camp of Champs, and all of a sudden I was just like, I don't know, I just immediately like loved it. And I'm like, oh, I want to be a part of that. So I had some boards. I got some boards through the rep stuff, and then then when I moved out west, it just kept going. And then Jay Brown was living in Vancouver, and he was very, very, very kind and welcoming to me. But he did some funny shit, some little Jay Brown shit. He like basically put me through this little psychological test I didn't know was happening so he could calculate where my head was at. Like, was it trying to be famous or trying to do whatever? Or was it like true love for snowboarding, or was it whatever? And he got me worked up enough. So I had like not an explosion, but a bit of an outburst. And then his response was just like, test passed. And I was like, what? Amazing. So
like he
was
said
trying
that out loud?
It was on a text or an email. He was kind of fishing for like what my true desires were or whatever.
Do you remember the test?
Not really, honestly, but it was just like, it was something along the lines of hinting towards like, you know, if you're just looking for like fame or you're looking for money versus, I don't know what it was. I don't remember these things very well, but it was
cool anyway, regardless.
Yeah, it was super cool. And I loved the boards and stuff. I loved the people. And then, yeah, just forever. I mean, there was some differences with Blue and JB and TJ, which I'll completely stay out of. I mean, I love all of them very much. You know, for me to have a perspective is just unfair or whatever. But that, you know, they're all really important to me. And then yeah, there's the whole, you remember D-Day snowboards, obviously, right? So that started out, and that was where I had quite an opportunity. And I actually talked to Blue for a while about this opportunity that I got with Roach and them. And
because you would have been on Capita for like 10 years, maybe longer.
More than that. Yeah, it would have been
since the birth of it.
Yeah, since the very start.
And D-Day, you probably started like 2013, 14, probably 15.
Yeah, 13, 14 sounds about right. And it was cool, had potential. I mean, and, you know, Blue said, he's like, dude, I don't want to say this, but this, you know, it's just a kind of an opportunity you can't pass, even if you don't know where it's going. Like, you know, with Roach and with his, you know, his company or whatever, even though there's other owners. And then it was cool.
Sorry to interrupt, but
Yeah.
he must have said that because he wasn't providing you with opportunity and budget then? Is that why you went over to D-Day? Because Capita blew up at that time, and they definitely had, you know, they had Kazu come on and Dustin Craven and I don't know, Breezy and all these people that were getting probably compensated. Did you ever get a little spiteful being like, I've been here since birth and I'm not getting the same?
I always tried to keep that out of stuff. I've had a lot of financial support struggle in my snowboard career. And yeah, and Blue mentioned that. And he even, you know, he said, he's like, dude, your biggest problem right now is not being able to get enough financial backing. You know, like you do video part, like after my Capita part, I had like Absinthe and Standard interested. That's so much money. No one would, you know, kind of pony up, that was very frustrating. I got to be honest with you. When my budget goes down a bit, but Kazu's on the team, what am I going to say to that? Dude.
You're like, good pick.
Yeah. No, literally. Absolutely. If there's, and I say this completely, like, you know me, man, I wouldn't sugarcoat anything. I wasn't even upset. I'm like, I have no response.
Cheers, good run. I'm going to go to another rave.
No response. Yeah, exactly. No, that was good. But I mean, it's tough, right? And dude, you know this too. There's a lot of stuff to the snowboard industry that people just don't see and don't know. And I got lucky enough to hit the tail end of when there was still good budget. You know, I got a couple years where I was able to only snowboard and focus on that. I still came out probably 10 grand in debt at the end of the year, but you know, the amount of money I went through in some of those years just snowboarding, it's crazy.
Especially with going South America too. You incorporate that with traveling, with sledding, with
that. I was making money. I make a lot of money guiding and stuff, which is great. I work my ass off. But I got a couple years of just boarding, and those, I mean, it's reflective. Those are the best years of my snowboarding because you can only focus on boarding. But
it's wild when you're in a position where you feel or you know that you're the most capable you've ever been. You've dialed in like the backcountry rails, whatever. You have the safety aspect dialed. You're able to be a crew leader. You know where to go. Mm-hmm. You understand how to navigate through the mountains. You know how to build features. Like all that takes so much time, effort, energy, resources,
just dedication
and dedication.
Yeah.
And then when you're finally a master of your craft, and then someone pulls the rug under you and is like, you're actually not a master anymore because you don't have the budget to do that. Like that feeling, which I've gone through that, the whole ebbs and flows of snowboarding. I've had to deal with that multiple times, like most pros.
Yeah.
It's part of the game, but it is like, it's wild. When you get let go by everybody, which has happened to me, and you have 0 sponsors and you do one of those free years where you're like, what am I doing with my life? But then you start snowboarding again and you're like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it was devastating for me. It was really, really fucking hard to have it be completely out of my hands.
Like,
and
when you say really hard, do you mean one of the hardest times in your life?
Yeah.
Or
oh yeah. Yeah, like it fucked me up for a long time. I had to, and then I also had like, starting about 4 years ago, I finally had a short circuit in my head. So I've got some mental issues, like a lot of, some of it's related to post-concussive syndrome as well. Some of it's related to just other crazy shit. I'm a little crazy. Fine. Medication works well for me, and like a lot of,
what kind of medication do you have to take when you're diabetes type 1? We don't need to delve into that too much, but like you have that, you have some kidney stuff, you have some autoimmune
thyroid
stuff,
issues, yeah.
And like you mix all that with some concussions and stuff like that. Like it's probably a really good play, like me just off air right now being like that you are slowing down on the booze because you are somebody that needs to like,
oh yeah,
that department needs to get worked out or it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, it does. And like the big thing, and I took this seriously like 10, 11 years ago when my pancreas failed. I got type 1 diabetes. I can't black out. Like if I black out, there's like, it's not like there's not like a set percentage of like chance, but like it could be very easy to like black out and then not wake up when you're having like a hypoglycemic event. Like people die like that pretty regularly, and then it's just hard on your body. Anything with autoimmune as well, anything that you're doing yourself, whether it's booze, drugs, smoking, anything like that is causing your body to have to repair itself or fend stuff off. That means it's not putting that energy into like the real issues, physical issues that you're having. So, the better I can treat myself. I mean, I'm far from perfect. I'm trying to, smoke less. The alcohol is easy for me because I don't like spending money on it and I don't need it. But yeah, going back to the whole like, it wasn't like giving up on my snowboard career, but just realizing like it was gone. It was taken from me. You know what I mean? I spent 20 years clawing my way up, scratching my way up, and like, that's part of my relentlessness is a big reason I got to where I was. But it got exhausting, dude. Like it's exhausting having to work so much, then work so hard at snowboarding, and dealing with injuries and trying to film and doing all this with like very, 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 very little financial help. And I suppose in theory, well, that was the D-Day thing too. We got some crazy offers to go to D-Day. After year 1, I never saw a penny again. So we're talking many tens of thousands of dollars that I was supposed to get. And I'm gullible, so I kept, all of us, right? Me and like Gooner, we all thought, even Roach, we thought, oh, it'll get better, it'll change or whatever. But, at that point with everything, I'm like, I just literally don't have the energy I can't work 50 plus hours a week and try and be a professional snowboarder. Like, and dude, I'm older. You just can't physically do that. And that's fine.
It really is a privilege to be if you're getting money from a snowboard company, that is a huge privilege.
Yeah.
And one that a lot of people take for granted. And if a company is going to support you and they're going to also support snowboarding in a good light, like a company like Yeti,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Take the money. Why wouldn't you?
Dude.
Like they're like, oh, they're not a snowboard company. It's like, well, they support snowboarding. They get behind natural selection and stuff like that. And then they also make awesome product, which you can get behind. And they're going to pay you to do what you dream to do. You're a fool to not take that money.
Dude, my opinion is very simple on all this. Starting from, I don't fucking care who it is. Anyone that's going to give someone money to snowboard, fuck yeah, absolutely. And yeah, sure, like maybe back there, oh, that's not core, that's bullshit. No, I'm a fucking idiot for saying that. Anyone that's going to help someone snowboard, I really don't give a shit. I think it's like, dude, there's never gonna be enough help for people that deserve it. So, dude,
What about, where do you draw, like, do you draw the line somewhere? Like, I wouldn't take it from X. Like, here's the thing is, like, you need to know with what you fuck with and then stand by that.
Yeah.
Because that's true to being you.
So that's really well put. I think if someone takes money from a company or brand that they fundamentally, like, their existence disagrees with that brand, that's kind of fucked up.
Like, do you like country music? You look like somebody that maybe doesn't like country or something like that.
You read that pretty good.
Okay. So you don't like country music. You're not going to be, maybe there's one sponsor you wouldn't have and it'd be like country music. You know what I mean? Because you draw the line there somewhere.
Yes.
Which if you don't draw the line anywhere, then you stand for nothing and then you're somebody that's actually like the most uninspiring individual ever.
Fuck. It's tough. I'm trying to think, like, that makes perfect sense, but honestly, I still would. That's not enough for me.
Give me the cowboy hat.
I do a Brian Savard on the fucking Brian Savard method on the. Dude, no, it would be hard for me to find someone I wouldn't take snowboard money support from, to be dead honest with you, because I want it that bad. But here's a great example. It'd be like Dara getting sponsored by a beef company.
Because she's a vegan.
Yeah.
And it's against her values.
I mean, at the same
Like,
time, though, I'm thinking, dude, if anyone also needs more, Dara, dude, man, anyone that's going to help good, devoted snowboarders. It's so hard. I don't know where I would draw the line. Like,
I draw the line, I think, with just like, I look at a company, I look at if they support snowboarding.
Yeah.
Like, do they really get behind snowboarders that I like, that I respect?
Yeah.
And if they do that, that's a big one. Do they make a good product? Is it something that I like the graphics, the branding? Do I like the people that are actually behind it that I would have to work with? And if all those things come together, I'm just like, okay, maybe this is a corporate company. And I get that there's a lot of like ultra core snowboarders.
Yeah.
That it's just like, I don't draw the line at like being like ultra core, because I'm actually I come from a very humble beginnings. I want to make some money and I want to be able to take care of my family one day.
Yeah.
And I've worked laying sewer pipe. I've done all the hard trade jobs in the world. And to get paid to snowboard is like the greatest gift in the world. Obviously, don't take it from a company that you don't align with.
Yeah.
But for me, all the companies that support my podcast, I'm like, hell yeah, thank you. And then I'm able to like hopefully inspire more people to snowboard through the podcast, which there's a ripple effect to, if more people are in nature, it makes the world a better place.
Yeah.
And like,
and people come from, you mentioned, people come from different backgrounds where, I mean, dude, I know a lot of people, and it's no offense to them whatsoever. I'm not judging, but it's pretty fucking easy for them to just think of like what's core and what's not, because they're not like, dude, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I still this day, I mean, my only regret through snowboarding is I don't have a penny. Like, I have nothing. I wouldn't trade what I have, but I mean, in order to keep going, got to where I got to, I've been just paying off snowboard debt my whole life. Doesn't matter how much money I got. And like, and I think also a lot of people just don't get, like, why is this company, oh, they did this, that, and the other thing. They probably have no idea what's in the background. They probably have no clue. And it's like, I don't know.
the background could be the person who owns that cool company has rich fucking parents, and their mom and dad actually invest in all these companies that you hate.
Yeah.
And they have the privilege, because they're a rich kid, to have some core company that's actually funded by rich parents who have invested all their money through whatever, all these shit companies that they're against.
Dude, absolutely. And the case in point with that is
not
like,
all the time. There are really sick, small snowboard companies, and we shouldn't try and like shit on something like, snowboard company.
But so this is what I'm saying, though.
I
wouldn't shit on them. I think that brings my point to light even more. It's like, a company's a company. It's not. It doesn't have to be about, how core is it, where it came from. Like, there's just always, I don't know. People get really judgmental about stuff, and maybe you don't see like either sides. And just really going back to with what you asked me initially, if basically anyone is going to support a snowboarder and help fulfill their dreams or help get them to somewhere or whatever, I think that's awesome, because it's just clearly not something that the snowboard industry itself can fulfill anymore, you know?
You know where I draw the line back to what we were talking about is if you are a snowboard company and it's winter and I see you promoting bullshit influencers over professional snowboard athletes, both male and female,
Yeah.
then I'm just like, I don't back what you're doing. And like cheaply made product is shit.
Yeah.
But there's also cheaply made product that's not shit.
Yeah.
And you're paying a premium because of just like a logo on the side. You know what I mean? It's like buying Gucci goggles compared to Ashbury.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ashbury,
they're
they're the same thing.
Yeah.
And Ashbury's way cheaper and the quality's just as good. And they make an incredible product and it's like the cheapest goggle out. When it's foggy for the person in $580 Oakleys, guess it's foggy for me too. Like it's just a foggy day.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
It's just like sometimes nature does stuff.
Yeah,
Believe it or not.
That's so well put, man. As a guide with like, you know, the hundreds and hundreds of days and hundreds of clients I've had in some gnarly backcountry winter conditions, like people still are convinced that there's something wrong with the product, that, you know, that's why their goggles are fine. That's why I'm like, well, no, first of all, you've got them on your head when you're walking and sweating. You know, second of all, you don't take them off when you're hiking. Third of all, I saw you put those in your wet backpack last night and didn't take them out till this
and
morning.
you just ragdolled down the whole face and you dunked your head in a river and I had to save you from drowning.
Yeah, I know, exactly. Like, what the hell, man? That's what the airbag's for. You just float down. Oh, one quick note. You know, the first time, I don't know if it was actually the first time I met you, but the first standout time, you're going to love this.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. You're going to love this. Do you remember, so what, yeah, I mean, it's well over 10 years ago. You had some black Tech 9 pants with all the little T logos all over.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Yeah.
Remember that year? No, do you remember they had, I think it was during the World Ski and Snowboard Festival, there was a big contest in the park where they made Shaq write this colossal step over. It's the contest. I think I just met you. I didn't know if I knew you were there with E. This little kid in these Tech 9 pants. I'm like, oh, nice pants. You know you went front end dub over that thing?
Yeah, I do remember that.
I was just like,
what?
what?
The jump on the right?
Yeah. I was like, what the shit? And then I think E tried one too. And like in my own, you know, my own defense, I was kind of fresh off an injury and I wasn't sure I was gonna hit. I watched that. I'm like, fuck. I hit the jump once and I'm like, I'm gonna just blow my knee out again.
Yeah, it was like right when the double cork came out. And I remember that's so I forgot about that day. I remember that. That jump was sick.
Dude, yeah, that was good, man. That was good. That was actually one, you know what? That was a good year for me with control because I did go through a lot of injuries where I tried to hide them, especially start early in Capita because I thought I'd get cut.
That was a big thing when your age and injuries, you're done.
I blew my ACL and rode for a year and a half, just not
suck it up, Burn. Suck it up. No one can know. It's like having a
me.
baby and being a woman in the 50s.
Yeah.
You're like, I can't let my boss know or he'll fire me.
Ironically, when Blue found out about that in the back, he's like, if you ever do that again, I'll fire you. He was looking long term at that point, but
good call.
No, but that actually though, like I said, I was recovering from an injury and just watching you and E alone right there, I was like, I gotta try. I was proud of myself. That was one of the first moments where I'm like, okay, don't be an idiot. Like,
it's called getting wiser and smarter. Let's switch gears here a little bit. There's a bunch of creative things that you were part of during that time frame. Like there's Narcor, there's TJ, the snowboard realms. Yeah. There's and then which I'm imagining kind of helped you piece together Shipwrecked, which is a series that you worked on and funded, which yet again, if we go back into it, was probably very expensive and not cheap. And you went all over the world. You even went to Alaska.
There's some interesting parts to Shipwreck stuff with the funding, and I'll talk about that in a bit and how that worked out. But starting with Narcor, I mean, you know, younger Burns and Whistler, and Rouleau rode for Capita as well. So I don't remember exactly when I met Rouleau, but you know, we were buddy real quick. I mean, he's so nice, so friendly, motivated, creative, fucking gnarly. Like, most of that crazy shit, I was there for it. Like ridiculous.
The drop on the roof?
The drop on the roof? No, not that, but like
the 50-50 in Creekside?
The 50-50
The kink
The
in
culture, just by base 2, that one next to the cultural center. It's the steep down, flat down with the hook on the end. Switch front boarding, the
Spring Creek Rail.
Oh yeah,
The switch from that was in Transworld, I think.
yeah. I think Dano was there and I was filming it. Epic, but dude, I don't know Rulo. I don't remember how our friendship started. It was pretty instant, and he was a great guy to just exist with. You know what I mean? Like I'd say work with, but it's also friendship and hanging. Like we just got along so well, and he was always down for whatever to help her. Boy, I was always down to help him. It was great. Then the art barn itself, legendary.
What's the art barn?
The art barn was in Alta. Wait, is that Alta Vista? Yeah. The art barn was the house they lived at. Rouleau, Lauren Graham, who is she is awesome, filmmaker, creative. So she was doing art. Gerhardt, obviously. So that was where all the Narcor kind of art barn people lived. Had a dope backyard setup. Grimy basement, perfect. I think DeWatt lived there for a while too.
Brockle lived there. Rasman lived there.
Rasman lived there. Jeez, man. I spent a lot of nights there. Dano lived. That's how I met Dano, actually. Legend. He lived across the street. Dude, that was like a whole era. I remember, I knew them as hanging out, but one of my favorite parts ever, even to this day, was the Narcor part in one of the Sandbox movies, but I think it was Skids at that point still. They had a Narcor part that was just, it was so sick, so rowdy. The like non-snowboarding film work to me, I think it was like, I'm pretty sure it was At the Drive-In or something. That was the tune, the riding. Like it was just like 3 minutes of like all up in your shit. It was so good. So much respect. And then all the other stuff they did, the, Shoot You Ones to Love.
Help Is on the Way.
Help Is on the Way. I miss those days.
Did you know Gerhard at all? You brought him up there, so
yeah.
Rest in peace. That homie did so much for Canadian snowboarding, and well beyond that.
Gerhard was great. He and as part of the Narcor entity, he's an exceptional snowboarder, but he had that external drive as well with just helping even just motivate what they were doing. All of those guys had like the boarding and stuff, but then they had all the separate pieces to keep each other motivated and moving forward to create the stuff they created. You know what I mean? And I think to a lot of people it looked like, oh, like rad snowboard crew, but it was so much more than that. They were all part of a single entity in a way, almost, and just like positive, fun, awesome, supportive. Rad. Gerhard was an impressive individual on a lot of levels.
But Gerhard was an incredible writer and just very intelligent human. Then you have Rouleau, who's one of the gnarliest snowboarders in the rail world ever. Savage. And then mixed with that dude is super creative.
Yeah,
and
extremely.
Then the whole crew kind of the movies all kind of had that. I don't want to say a grenade feel, but you know how the grenade movie, there was a lot of acting in those early snowboard videos. Like Kingpin had them and it kind of ripple affected into a bunch of people. And I think a lot of skate films had that too back then.
Oh, McClatchy as well, actually. Remember they're the fucking crazy scientist lab test tubes and all that shit? Yeah, all that stuff. That was the thing. They were it was snowboarding, but they were artists. They were filmmakers. They were, and combining the two and having all those key pieces. I think that's the difference of them being able to do what they did and be what they were. It's bigger than just riders. You need riding, but they needed all those different pieces because everyone had to contribute more in order to make it happen. I'm sure they got some funding or whatever, but that shit was all out of love, a lot of personal investment, both financial and sweat equity, time and that's what I think that's probably one of the biggest things overall that attracted me to it so much and so much respect is it was just clear to me. It was this is raw love of this.
So Jason Brown would have gave them a pass.
Yeah, I think so.
Jason Brown would have been like, you passed the test.
Absolutely, yeah.
And another crew that would have passed the test. I mean, we're kind of skipping a couple chapters here, but like you look at like you worked on Shipwreck. Your project mixed with at the same time was Dope, which is dope. Brockle definitely, I think, a bit of a mentor for him would have been Dave Rouleau and just Narcor.
Yeah.
And I think that like he's somebody that would have passed another massive test with Jason Brown, but like maybe touch on that, and then we can kind of. There's one chapter I want to touch on before that.
Yeah. So Dope. I mean, with Brocklebank, Brockle does what he wants, but in a good, positive kind of way. And now he really firmly won't. He won't stray from what he thinks is good or the direction or the vision he has. And I respect that a lot, for sure. And it's tough. It's tough to do that, right? But again, like same kind of thing, if you think of the Dope crew, it's like there's so much friendship and support and just love, all of these different things we're talking about. It's like the thing that stands out the most is just the raw desire for doing this. It's not about, it's not about, oh, what's going to be the best business move or how are we going to get the most reach or whatever. I mean, obviously you're not trying to just torpedo your own shit, but it's like, it strikes me as like showing, it's like the concept is showing the public, snowing the snowboard world, like, what makes you tick, what makes you go. And like especially more so with Dope, like showing not as much like the filmmaking side as opposed to like the reality side, the like homie stuff. That's what I always loved about, like, people get a good idea of what was going down, like there's actually one good story that combines the two with my Shipwreck stuff. Still, I love, we did this rail trip to 100 Mile, perfect downrail, set up a scaffold for 2 days. And there's so it was me and the Dope guys, and there's like fucking 6 of us in a shitty 2-bedroom hotel. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, playing like having like slap fights or doing dumb shit to see who sleeps on the floor that night or whatever. And like, but showing all that, I mean, I think like it really just shows who people are and like what they're doing. And I think that's something that kids like really love so much. Probably not parents that as much, but just that's like the raw, that's what it is, that's who it is, that's who we are.
I think that one thing that Brockle was able to do was like to bring to life a side of snowboarding that was kind of like fading off almost, and it kind of needed to come back. And I think that like at that exact time, there's a couple crews in the States, like between like Bradshaw and Lung and like Benny and stuff, like they kind of had like a little thing going on. But like within Canada and kind of, I don't want to say globally, but it just like, it almost like their Mac Dog got, I don't want to say soft, but it got kind of poppy. You know what I mean? The bright colors and all this stuff. And then, Brockle was influenced by at the time, and being really close with him and E-Man and everybody behind that project. And like you, me, Griff, Jeeves. Yeah. Mikey Pedersen, that entire crew. I don't want to say everybody, but I think the master brainchild behind it was just like Brockle grew up watching like Whiskey, Wildcats, Narcor, and then Baker came out, and it was like that whole Baker crew was like Brockle's stuff. Like, no, this is what I fuck with. Yeah, if you want to be in Dope, like this is what it is. Because this is who I am. Yep, and this is who E-Man is, and so anybody in that crew, this is like what it's gonna be like. And you look at someone like yourself there, it's like you were just saying, and I was just saying how like where we draw the line with core, like Brockle draws the line way further sooner. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's like, this is whack. Yeah. I will not have that person affiliated with this film, which in some ways like hurt him as far as being like, if you want to make money, if you want this thing to grow, you need to be able to work with other brands. Yeah. And he was just like, that company to me, I don't really align with. Yeah. So no. And to me, and it goes I respect that play.
I do too. It goes both ways. And he's, dude, he's not dumb. He's fucking really smart. Dude, he knows exactly what he's doing. And huge respect, because I mean, dude, and that's the beauty of doing your own thing and doing something that you've dreamt up and that you want to do. And like more than anything, dude, the amount of tracks that I wanted to use for video parts that got turned down, it's like 100%, always they're like, no, dude, like, no, you got to bring it down. So the first thing I would do in any of the shit that I made was use all the metal and shit I wanted to use, knowing full well, appealed, like a general population appeal way down. But it was like that opportunity, and just like Broccoli, yeah, like, dude, he knows how the industry works, and that's perfect because fucking, it's not about, I hope I'm not like misspeaking for him, but I think to like a pretty significant degree, it's not about giving the people what they want. It's like, this is me. This is us. Take it or leave it. And I love that.
Humans never know what they want anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when there's a great product, humans for the most part don't really care about it. And then somebody who's cool makes that thing cool, and then other people latch onto it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how the needle moves. And like what Brockle made at the time wasn't like what exactly snowboarding wanted, and he wasn't trying to make what snowboarding wanted.
And who cares what they want?
Totally. And at the time, everybody wanted soft, poppy kind of films that were like, and Brockle's like, that's not the way I live. That's not the way my homies and I hang out. It's not the music we listen to. We smoke weed.
It's not how they snowboard either, dude. That's not soft snowboarding.
No, totally. It's raw and in your face.
And you know what? Honestly, what I think the biggest thing Brockle and the dope guys, everyone did for snowboarding, especially in Canada, was show kids like, dude, if you get a fucking bunch of homies together, you can do whatever the fuck you want. Like, I think it promoted the like crew stuff. It's not out of reach. Like, I mean, obviously the snowboarding was like ridiculous, but like, I think the dope movies made shitloads of crews of kids get after it a lot more, be more motivated. You know what I mean? Like, I bet
Good
you
perspective.
I bet you the amount of times like some like, back home or whatever, like shred crews were like getting all amped to go on trip. Dude, you know how many times fucking dope videos probably went in to like psych people up?
Dude, I went and looked at the dope video, Dope 1. It has like 150,000 downloads. Like for a film that's like made in Canada with zero budget.
Yeah.
It's just a homies film. It just shows like,
dude, they're epic, man.
They're timeless. They're going to be one of those films that you can watch forever and be like, wow, that's what that crew was about.
Yeah.
And it also helped that you have Jeeves, E-Man, Lane, Stathis, who are at the time were like arguably four of like the most talented snowboarders ever. Like, and they're all doing tricks that like not a lot of people were
shake
doing.
my head thinking of like that one year Stathis just all of a sudden like he just realized like, wait, I can just do anything.
Yeah, totally. And then he also realized at the end of his like snowboard career or whatever you want to call it that he's like, I can do anything. I can just stop snowboarding and not caring and move to the island and just start surfing. See ya. Yeah. It was just like everyone's like, what? You just filmed 4 of the best video parts. What are you doing? You're going on a trip with Adidas and Keegan and Forrest, and he was just like, nah, I'm out. And you're like, damn, dude, that's a play.
That love I mean, dude, he hit the. I mean, for whatever reasons, it doesn't matter. I think people should do what makes them happy, obviously. But I've had a couple moments in my career where I was like that moment where I'm like, oh, that's the best. I'd be able to do it that or something like that. Like going out slamming is not a bad way to do it.
Going out just getting smashed.
Oh, dude. Well, no, just like having. Like having some like best part or best whatever your life and being like, yep, that's what I can do. That's what I always strive for with my snowboarding. Like it's always been about like what I think I can do. There's still like some trailing stuff, but I mean, I had obviously like the caps on my contest careers. There was a point where I'm like, yep, that I'm no more contests for me, not because I didn't like them, but
on that note, you said that you hit a cap in your contest riding.
Yeah.
So you got to a certain skill set and you didn't want to push it beyond there. You're starting to slam. You're like, I'm done. But with backcountry riding, I feel like you got to a point where you were maybe I'm speaking on your behalf here, but like you got better than ever, but without that support, you couldn't show anybody.
That was a kind of, with backcountry freestyle, that's what happened. It's a hard one for me still. There's still a couple things I got in my head that I'm positive I could do, but I at least wanted to have the opportunities. But there was like support stuff, then there was then without there's like the fear of injury, right? I had a couple goes where I got injured and I had no income, so I can work and things like that. Then there was also some mental stuff going on, but like the last back 10 that I did, I think I put on an Instagram story.
Just for fun.
I don't think anyone who saw it,
Well, you were I remember you being very early to like the 1080 double cork race in the backcountry. I think about that back 10 double that you did in Rainbow. Like that was early on.
That was a pretty pivotal moment for me. I was stoked. I've been thinking about that for a whole year. I learned those the summer before in Argentina. I couldn't land one because I was basically jumping into a mogul field, but I kind of had them, and I was thinking about that trick on that jump for like the whole year. Like I wanted it pretty badly. I'm really, really glad it obviously it worked out. It's pretty cool. I had everyone through this amount of time in anything has some like funny misfortunate stories. So I actually got my roommate still, Nick Vale, shot a sequence of it. So I have a sequence of it. Beautiful sequence, really nice. I sent it to Bridges, like personally. I'm like, dog, you should really trying to like sell it. I did a lot of that in my career, right? Like trying to, instead of hoping something works out, I'd kind of trying to hustle people on it. Bridges was hyped, and I was like, sweet, fucking stoked, this and that. And then we got to Super Park the next year, and it didn't come out. I hadn't seen it, and I was at Super Park. I was like, hey man, like are you saving that or something? And he just drops his jaw. It just got lost in the lost in the paperwork, lost in the stuff, so it never got printed. Because
that would have been, what year would that have been?
That was 2000, and that was the winter of 2010.
Yeah, that was early.
No, 2011.
That's kind of the bang of like the boom, you could say, of double corks. Like where like you look at like Mikey and UC and Ika and Arrow and like everybody.
JP.
Yeah.
Solberg.
Yeah, JP Solberg.
He had a nice.
He was kind of earlier to it. Like JP Walker and JP Solberg are kind of like, you look at JP Solberg, you're like first back 10 double possibly.
Yeah.
JP first front 9 double.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
JP.
Yeah.
Although the other day somebody said that David Benedict did it before JP, but I
don't know the dates
I didn't see
worked
that
out.
footage.
I don't know the dates worked out. I mean, Benedict was he really pushed some stuff.
I mean,
with that as
no
well, though.
no shot at Benedict, dude. That guy's a legend.
God, I could watch him snowboard. Do you remember?
Good.
Here's a fun side note, dude. In Afterbang, do you remember? And this relates. So he was a big influence on me. McClatchy was mentioning about the spinning all four ways. That was something I focused on for so long, like making sure to spin all four ways every day, but learn every trick all four ways kind of thing. And that helped me a lot. Benedict in that Robot Food movie did the bag of ones through bag of nines. But in the 16 mil days, if you go back to his part, there's a switchback 7. And he even puts his arms up. They miscut the edit off the film. He did do the switchback 9. It was supposed to be a switchback 9, but they cut in the wrong one. And it went to print on the movie. If you look back at it, those last 4 tricks, the bag of nines, we did. I think it was back 9 tail, cab 9 something, front 9 something, but then switchback is supposed to be switchback 9 tail, but it's switchback 9 7. As soon as he lands, but he's like as a snowboarder, you can see he throws his arms up, not like fuck yeah.
The editing,
he's like what the fuck? Yeah, they cut in the
because
the
he
wrong
talks
trick.
about, I think, that on the bomb hole about how they didn't use one of his 9s that year, and he was the first person to do all 4
It was
9s.
supposed to be the bag all the way from 1s to 9s, and same grabs too, like on the mirror trick, same grabs, and he got hosed on that through an edit. I think most people probably don't know, but at that point I was so hyper focused on that, and that was like, I remember the first, I was losing my mind, like, you did all 4, like the bag, the bag of everything, and like
that was big shit back then. You do
Yeah.
all 4 9s, like
yeah.
It one thing that was crazy is just like living somewhere like Whistler and riding like the park back then is like a lot of your friends were like just as good as the pros. Like I remember riding the park for a long time there and then thinking about what shots they would have been using in the movies and then riding through the park with like everybody that was like kind of going off back then. And like, yeah, for sure, these people had 1 day a year of follow cams with sandbox, and they had one heli jump a year. But like everybody who's filmed the video part, is they also snowboard all year, and none of that is documented, and they do insane shit all year.
Yeah.
And so watching all that stuff that wasn't documented really, and I was really lucky to be able to watch like you, Mikey Pedersen, I don't know, the list goes on. Mark Sollers, everybody, Jeeves, E-Man, Brian, Dave 410 in the park. And it's like all these psychopaths riding the park all day long. And all the French Canadians, the bandwagon crew.
Oh, dude, and the old dudes like Gallant, Melançon, and fucking Dave Canny, Rodeo Dave.
I only
Love
saw
Dave.
Melançon when I would leave the park and I would go up peak, and then Dave, and I'd run into people like David Melançon, Wes Makepeace, and Sheen, and be like, oh, these people all don't ride the park, but they ride every day.
Yeah.
Maybe take us through. I got a Scandinave bath pass for you here. For your worst slam.
Okay, there's gonna be probably 3, because I think the different genres of snowboarding, I think, should have 3. So probably the funniest one, and this always comes up. The picture's hilarious. My first line in Alaska, I got teed off on something pretty aggressive. I tried to air into this big steep ramp, and I guess you're not supposed to air into it. You go down. I didn't know. I talked a big game. I didn't want to look like a bitch, So I'm like, fuck, this is fucked. Air into it, and I tomahawked for like 800 feet, like for sure. Like just the picture's so good. Air off this cliff, and it's just like,
please send me this.
Like 12. I'll send it to you. There's like 12 human imprints. Yeah, all the way to the bottom. So that was pretty funny. I'm built to fall down mountains, so that was good. Probably gnarliest park bail. This goes back a really, really long time ago, but you probably remember maybe like 15 years ago, Whistler built the biggest wall ride ever built. When wall rides were starting to be cool, they built this giant fucking wall ride, and you could actually air onto it and slide it and go off the end into a tranny. I was doing that with Jesse Cumley.
I remember him.
He was buck, dude. He's a great, great friend. So I was sliding it, and I hooked up on the top. It was 20 feet of wall plus the extra, 12 to 14 feet or whatever. I hooked up on the top and went all the way to the bottom. And I broke a bunch of ribs and was half knocked out, but I actually blew out my spleen. So a bunch of internal bleeding and, down in Vancouver, all that kind of thing. Now, this was long enough ago. The recovery room after I got out of the ICU had shitty TV and a shitty VCR. There's only one video, only one movie they had. And it was just punching me in the face with irony. So for 4 days straight, I watched Groundhog Day on a loop. Infuriating. And then I think, actually, you know what? I've gotten really lucky with streets, to be honest. I've tumbled down a bunch of stairs and a bunch of stuff, but nothing major. I've broken 37 bones. I've blown out both my knees, both my shoulders, broken my back, broken everything else. Like, I'm tattered. Snowboarding has cost me a lot. I'm still going, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to wake up one day and be like trying to hustle a rascal scooter off someone.
Do you have any regrets?
My only regret in life is the first cigarette I had. Everything else I learned something from. My first cigarette, that just cost me money and probably like half of a house by now. And health is probably not ideal.
Do you still smoke?
Almost. No, I'm on and off. I mean, if I,
leads me to believe you still smoke.
I haven't bought a pack in some weeks. I was camping last weekend for a buddy with his birthday, and I definitely bummed a lot of smokes off him. But I'm trying. I'm on and off. The last girl I was dating was a smoker, so.
Oh, that doesn't
so
help.
I smoked.
That doesn't
naturally.
Yeah,
naturally.
Why do? Okay. What about the process of filming? Do you love?
I love how complex it can be, but what you can achieve. So I'm also like a film nerd. I actually like went to like film school and done a lot of like professional level editing outside of the snowboard world. I love what you can combine and how you can display things and deliver things to people to see. And when you can actually capture the truth, when you can make the person watching like actually see it. But honestly, I think my favorite thing is so that I can watch it, I can actually feel that again. But I just think it's cool. I think it's a cool process. It's so much more. There's such a team effort that's involved. You know what I mean? And it's like I think that's more difficult than the actual snowboarding. It's like, dude, when you go to film backcountry shit, it's like, dude, it can take days before you're even trying to get a shot. You know, like there's a lot that, like, some of those shots you see, you know, people have no idea, but some of those shots you get, or of other people you help with, it's like it's such a tremendous accomplishment, you know, completely leaving aside the snowboarding, you know, and I think that's really cool.
Yeah, you're basically, the way I look at it is you're a bunch of Navy SEALs out there doing Navy SEAL shit and then snowboarding at the highest level possible.
Yeah, then you got to get that. That's the thing. Everything that leads up to that, dude. Holy shit. Like, dude, and especially with the sledding and all that, dude, it's just savage, the issues, you know, like.
Do you know who's going to call you soon? The government. They're going to give you a call, Burns, and they're going to be like, hey, this is the special ops, and you are part of the crew, because how long have you been sledding? And you're going to be like 20 years. And then they're going to be like, yeah, we need some Navy SEAL people in the mountains. I always get scared they're going to call us, dude. Because who can navigate better through the mountains than us?
Dude, honestly, if you're like legit, so I was thinking about this in like the zombie apocalypse like scenario. Dude, if we needed to get out somewhere with like a lot of like weaponry, survival supplies, all that,
we're good.
You know, there's crazy sled necks, but dude, look at Travis and those guys, man. That's the only other people. Like, dude, bringing out sleds worth of shit, 500 pounds of gear, all this other stuff, getting through shit, fucking sled issues. Oh, you know what finally happened after 20 years of sledding? My sled burst into flames this year.
Oh, you got Sean Kearns. Dano shared a photo of me of Kearns just standing somewhere, and then his sled in the background just burning to a pulp.
Dude, so I got really lucky, but that's generally, I've seen it happen a lot, and that's generally what happens. As soon as that oil reservoir melts, all you can do is stand back and watch. I was in the parking lot, luckily. I saw Bellsville moments before. I don't know if you were there, but I unloaded. Then I'm chilling. I'm waiting, helping the other guys get ready. I hadn't been sledding. I was just back from Japan.
Leave your e-brake on?
I'm all excited. No, just random. It's an old sled. It's time for her to go. But then, so it's just chilling over there, and they're ready to go. And I just pull, and it just goes, poof, and it's just flames. I'm like, what the fuck? I think it was like maybe like just a drip of something somewhere with maybe like a little short and a spark, and then like I have no idea. It's crazy.
You hopped off because it. Did you try to put it out? Did you?
Yeah, we put it out. We got it out. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I started shoveling with a blade. Then
I thought you just sat there and watched it.
No, I got lucky, and I got lucky enough. I was trying. I mean, honestly, that was old enough. It was time to go. I would have sat there and watched it, except then I'd have to clean it up. But
okay, here's an interesting question for you.
Ooh.
And this is a good one, and I've never asked anybody this question, and it's an absolutely incredible question, and nobody has ever asked a better question.
Oh, well.
Here we go.
Oh, my answer's good.
What or who is the snowboard industry?
What or who is the snowboard industry?
I feel like everybody right now is just bitching about the snowboard industry, myself included every once in a while. But who are you yelling at? Like when you say like fuck the snowboard industry, blah blah blah, or whatever, or you're like the snowboard industry's killing it or it's not killing it, like what is it?
They're yelling at everyone else that doesn't agree with them.
Yeah, but what is the snowboard industry? Someone
just having fun on a snowboard with no one watching.
That's the snowboard.
No, that's snowboarding. That's snowboarding. The snowboard industry is, dude, just confusing. It's
help us understand, Burns.
Well,
you've been in the game for 400 years, man.
You know what's funny enough? I don't truly understand, because I think the snowboard industry should just be about getting people snowboarding as much as possible and helping people snowboard as much as possible and making snowboarding accessible as possible. But unfortunately, the snowboard industry is an industry, is a business, and I understand that. But I think the snowboard industry is not a good representation of what snowboarding is, Just as a blanket, like there's a lot of different degrees, but that's what I think. It's not about being cool, dude. Okay, one of the biggest things I've had with either friends or clients or not great snowboarders that I want to go snowboarding with, they're like, well, I'm gonna be embarrassed if I fall or whatever, like around you or around your friends or around whatever, or like this and that. And I try to explain to them, I'm like, dude, all the other icon athletes that I know are the most inclusive, nicest people. They don't judge people for learning or trying. They're like stoked and motivated. Like I feel that there's just such a middle ground with snowboarders that it's like the scenester stuff. You know what I mean?
Sorry.
Continue. You touched on this before. I think it's unfortunate if people are in an environment where they're legitimately being judged or made to feel uncomfortable trying to learn or trying to have fun.
I would say that the beginners are the nice people that are shy.
Yeah.
The pros, actual pros, and people that have been in snowboarding their whole lives are the nicest people in the world for the most part. Yeah. Obviously, there's a couple rotten eggs. That's how it goes.
Generally, yeah.
But the intermediate, that's where there's like this 50-50. It's like
cool guy shit.
The cool guy shit.
Yeah.
Like the person who's going to yell at you if you're a beginner for taking too long to hit the rail is an intermediate person that's like, get out of my way. I'm going to front board this thing, you loser who can barely 50-50. Do you think like the person who's been riding the park for 20 years is going to like freak out and snap at some beginner who's trying to learn how to ride the box? They're probably going to stop and be like, hey, like,
no, you're
keep
good.
your
Go
nose
for
up.
it.
Like, you go for it, and like give them a pointer.
Positive. Or if for some reason they're like really breaching like park etiquette or what you're doing, they're going to go tell you like, oh, you shouldn't stop there. You shouldn't do whatever. Like you're exactly right. You know what I mean?
Do you know what the dance is here? Here's the fucking dance, Burns.
I like dancing.
On one side, you have us being kind and courteous on the hill. Then there's this thing called powder, where the older you get, the more you're like, nah, that's mine.
Yeah, that's a tough one, right? And I have
the beginner's like, should I go? You're like, no, you should just
no,
go back.
No. You should just ride that little bit on the side, get used to it. Get back on the general speed, get used to it. Dude, there's half of me. I get torn apart with powder because like I think no friends on a pow day is stupid, but one friend is good. But like then you should have etiquette and be respectful. But also fuck those people. I want that snow. But then it's dangerous. Should be, there's so many different things. And fuck, dude, it is annoying. I mean, 20 years ago, the thing is, it's like, I wish you could just keep people in line. Like there just be an etiquette and you follow it. So there's just black and white rules. People actually wait in line. People don't snake someone even if it's fresh pal. Like, you follow this etiquette or don't drop in on someone on a, sketchy face or don't whatever. But the very second one person breaks that protocol, then everyone else is like, well, fuck, I'm not going to wait. And shit gets insane. And I would love to tell you that I've never done that, but that would be horse shit.
What community follows this at a high level? Bing bong.
What community?
Bing, bong, bing,
like
bing,
here in general, dude.
Bing, bong,
snowboarding?
Bing, bing, bing,
Japanese do.
Yes, that was a
but
good
like,
answer.
what do you mean community? Which
I just meant like another sport.
Oh, what sport, dude?
Okay.
Golf, for example.
Well, great answer. I was
actually
gonna say
no.
surfing.
People get drunk. Surfing.
There's a rule. There's a rule to the water, and if you don't follow it, you'll get your car slashed. You'll get beat up.
Punch. You get your leash cut. Now, but it's tough. I don't surf as much as I like to, but I've surfed in a lot of like localized spots. And there's a line. It's the same thing. There's some stuff that makes sense, but then there's like similar to powder panic. Then there's some dudes that are just so fucking fired up that one thing happens with a beginner, and all of a sudden they're like throwing punches in the water.
Yeah,
dude, I've had people try to fight me in the backcountry. Literally.
Fight you?
Literally.
You're a pretty big guy.
Well. Yeah, I'm not small. I'm not small, and I don't recommend that. But either way, it's like, I mean, shit, dude. I mean, the funny thing too is, just as a side note, like I really don't like. I try and avoid violence or fights at like any cost. Although people that are looking for it is what throws me off. But
same.
But one thing I'll tell you what, no one will ever hurt me as badly as I've hurt myself. So I don't have a lot of fear out of it. going back to the bail stuff, could you imagine? I was thinking about last weekend. Could you imagine, or I'm imagining, if I could put a reel together of every aggressive bail, not just any bail, aggressive bail I've had in my career, it would be the most savage reel
Ever.
Dude, it would be so sick.
And you know what everybody would say after that? Of course snowboarders walk away from snowboarding with fucking mental health issues. No, actually, like, think about, like so many snowboarders, like, leave snowboarding, and a lot of them don't do that well. That were, like, legit pros for a long time. Not only is it hard on their body, not only is it hard on their mind and their head, but another big thing is just, like, how much time and effort has gone into filming those clips. Yeah. And then you have to, like, deal with the injuries, getting older, realizing you can't snowboard at your highest level anymore, having no sponsors, trying to figure out a new life. And then you're like, whoa, this was a lot. Like, this is a lot.
Oh, yeah. Well, I had like, you probably saw a lot of people, like, wondered if I even existed anymore. Like, I disappeared for some years there because there's a lot of compounding issues. But, like, that's the kind of thing I went through. And and people ask if I have regrets or if I would do it over again. And, like, I would, but honestly, especially in the past, like, 6 years, there's a lot of directions I could have gone at a young age with, like, I always think about it. It's not that I would necessarily do it different or regret, but, like, I mean, it's like every single day I have these what ifs, and, like, I don't want to sound like woe is me or like a bitch, but I mean, I have nothing. I have a lot. I'm very happy with everything. I have great friendships, great experiences, all this kind of stuff. But it also, like, was a huge factor in, like, some extraordinarily significant mental issues over the past years. And it also made me too, part of the thing, like, about 2 and 3 years ago, for a couple of years there, my mental health stuff had gotten so gnarly. I couldn't even watch snowboarding. I couldn't even open Instagram because, like, dude, I would see people snowboarding and literally, like, start crying. So I had to, like, but then removing that, in addition to everything else happening, that was fucking me. Like, it was like a really difficult thing. And so that's, for me, snowboarding was always, it just, like you asked at the start of this, like, it's continuously still. There's always more. There's more ways to enjoy myself. Like, there's so much diversity. So even, back in the days, like, the day after the last day of riding of the year, the reason I would get up that morning to go to work was to be ready for next year. Like, my whole life always revolved around snowboarding, even if it was the furthest day away from snowboarding. But then some years ago, and with more physical, mental issues, it was gone. I had no purpose, like, at all. And yeah, I mean, it's like, it's a little deep, but, like, I almost disappeared permanently a few times, and most people didn't know. I put a couple of my friends, I put Ricky and Jeeves through some gnarly shit one time, and, like, it's the ups and downs. My whole life was basically based around snowboarding, and that's how I identified myself in the best of ways, but it never occurred to me ever, like, what's going to happen after, and what could happen after, and what's going to add to this. And then, like, I was not myself for years. I mean, like, literally someone else, but the someone else was just this kind of half existing, humanoid, not like. And then that compounded too, right? Because then it was hard for my friends, dude. Like, especially E-Man and Jeeves were, like, looking out for me, but it's hard to. I can understand why also people, like, I would be a bummer to be around, right? Like, there's all these compounding things, and I honestly just in the past year have been myself again, even to the point where someone will look at me and be like, "Whoa, you look like Burns." Like, even the way my face looked and everything had changed. And it's nice to be back to myself, but it's different, I feel like I'm, like, starting over, except my raggedy body can't do as much, but my brain still works, so I'm trying. And I'll tell you what, this is the first year I had a pass in a lot of years. So fucking fun. Why would I live in Whistler without a pass?
I think people don't realize, like, when you love something as much as snowboarding and you've devoted your entire life to it, and unlike a relationship with a girl that might let you down or whatever, snowboarding is pretty much, minus the injuries, always there for you.
Yeah.
Whether it's consuming the videos while you're injured, or whether it's snowboarding or hanging out with that group of friends or going to premieres or flipping through the magazine, it just becomes like this all encapsulating like fucking life that for people like you and me and lots of others, because it's so amazing, you just dive headfirst in like it's the love of your life. And then at one point it feels like she's slipping away from you and there's nothing you can do.
Yeah.
And I think it's more of a relationship than people really realize. Like when you talk to a lot of the older pros, or not even pros, people that never became pro but eventually had to move on anyway, it's not an easy thing.
No.
It is like, it's a very complex thing where there's a lot of psychology behind it, where it's like you're intertwined with this thing. And JP Walker talked about this really well, but it's like JP Walker is the snowboarder. And what's JP Walker without snowboarding? Like Andrew Burns is a snowboarder. And when you remove those sponsors and everything like that, and you're not filming and you're working, but you're not working to go and film that next season, you're like, what am I working for
The
then?
motivation change is unbelievable because, I had blinders on, and that's what made my career, made me happy, made me get everything. But I just had full blinders and like just raw devotion. But then it kind of went away. Like, so this is okay. So like 11, 12 years ago, my best friend passed away on my birthday. That was the biggest loss I've ever had. I've had a lot of loss. A lot of people had a lot of loss. But about a year or two ago, I was trying to evaluate what was going on with me. And I realized that this, like moving out of the snowboard life and dedication I had, was having the same effect. Like you put it perfectly, as far like a relationship, but not like a girl. Will there be another one? Or like something. Like it was like I couldn't come to terms with it. I couldn't figure it out. I couldn't reconcile the feelings I was having, you know. And that shows how important it was, and how, I mean, dude, I've said a lot in interviews in the past couple of decades, like snowboarding saved my life, like actually, because it just makes me happy no matter what. I could have like long-term, short-term goals, the friendships and relationships I'd have from it. But you know, it's funny, like I was just not ready for, I just never thought about anything else. And I'm getting there. I've got other skills. I've got shit that makes me happy. I still love boarding. That'll never go away. But yeah, get really stuck. And I mean, but again, as much pain and difficulty as it caused me, it's the most positive thing ever, because it's crazy to think that sliding down a fucking hill on a piece of wood was like the most significant thing of my whole existence. And that's pretty cool. And the friendships you make and the things you get to see. And like, dude, back in the heydays, it was E-Man's birthday a couple weeks ago. I was digging through some like Facebook photos from back at like the grenade games and WSF. Dude, oh my God, the shit I was finding was just so outrageous and funny. And like, it's really cool too that we got, and same with Whistler, but snowboarding, like, you know, you and I feel like the heydays are over. It's not that snowboarding's over by any chance, but that we got to experience like a part of the, not even industry, a part of the snowboard world that will never happen that way again. You know what I mean?
Before social media and the boom of the, like if you started snowboarding before the boom of the internet, there's a kind of it was a different world.
So that was one of the craziest things. And way back in the day when, I mean, you couldn't just go film stuff. Like movies were being made on 16 mil, and maybe you could get a big dad cam, but that's also the thing. Like, I feel like it was so much less accessible for people to showcase their stuff. And actually going back to the whole production stuff you're asking about, that was something back in the day that also made me so interested, was like the long game of it, you know, like filming like 16 and stuff like that, where, dude, you couldn't even look at your trick. You think you got something, and then 2 months later, something's all weird or like, you know, it was crazy. And the amount of effort you needed to get a chance, you know, to do that. Whereas now, like, I mean, I'm not complaining. I think it's awesome that kids can show their stuff, and like, people are so good at snowboarding at such early and young ages now. It's just bananas. Like, I think it's really, really cool. But at the same time, I think that, you know, maybe what we were talking about with, you know, what to do after snowboarding, maybe that's going to make a lot of kids, you know, commit to longer term life goals, like still be able to snowboard, still be able to show their boarding and like excel, but not, I don't know, maybe not like depend so much on just that, or I don't know. I'm interested to see where stuff goes. I think it's still like there's ups and downs. There's ups and downs to all of it, you know, and I'm sure that's like everything, right? I feel like my pop's like, goddamn kids these days. But it's true. You know, I think that's always a thing.
That's the way it's always going to be. Every grandfather has looked at their granddaughter and grandson and been like, what are you into? Like,
yeah.
Maybe they're a really supportive grandfather, but they were still looking at them being like, what's my grandson into? This is crazy. It's so different than anything I could have fathomed. And now with things like AI and technology and everything like that, it's like the world is never going to be the same.
Nope.
We've opened Pandora's box. We don't know what's in it. And it's similar to the snowboard industry, where you can't point a finger and be like, that's the snowboard industry.
No.
It's like no one can point their finger at what AI is. It's just a thing now that exists. Like, does anybody really know what iCloud is? No, but we all store our stuff there, and we love it.
I don't know. I think it's all like it's interesting, right? Like our generation, my generation specifically, has seen the craziest, most aggressive change in technology and how it's used, probably in anyone's generation, like lifetime, you know. And it's amazing, but it's good. But who the fuck knows? I mean, you know, yeah, with the AI stuff, not to get into it too much, but man, there's so much potential. But there's so much, like, some people, it's going to make them so much more efficient and do it for cool, awesome shit. All the animation's hilarious. Or Eddie Graham's best use of AI ever. Like last year, for like months, he was devoted to making pictures of Trump and Kanye in like slightly romantic situations, just like it's finger touch or something. It's golden. That's what AI is for, in my opinion. But then the other half of people, it's going to ruin them and make them like lazy, or I don't know. But it's like I think it's like anything, you know. I mean,
so, well, it's always
computers, Nintendo, like whatever. There's going to be a way to use it properly and a way to, you know. I think it's just gonna magnify where people are going or where their potential is, whichever direction that is.
Yeah, the power is in the hand of the individual to misuse the tool or to use the tool correctly. Like, you can use a hammer to kill somebody, but you could also use it for its purpose. But it's hard when the hammer is designed to open nothing but like Cadbury cream eggs or something, you know what I mean? And you just want to open them.
Or as they say on a job site, everything's a hammer.
Yeah.
Flip
Maybe
mode.
this one's not, I don't even have this down here, but I thought this could be kind of cool. Do you have any advice for snowboard companies, snowboard sponsors, team managers, now that you're older and I'm not going to say that you've fully moved on yet, but you did say there's a 2-year period there where you kind of like...
Oh, I lost...
How are you feeling these days?
Myself. Also snowboarding, I lost myself. Well, now I'm over. I'll never be over snowboarding. I love snowboarding more than anything. But I'm very aware that, I mean, all the guiding stuff still, like, I'm a really good guide. I'm a really good service, but I'm a really good coach. I know all that stuff will still go for a while, but I've accepted and like at least am moving forward. Dude, so anytime people have asked me advice, it's interesting because I think I have a lot of really good insight, but I also think I might have made some colossal errors in judgment and direction throughout my career. I might have, I might not. My advice for brands and stuff like that is like, make sure the people making decisions know about snowboarding or know snowboarding. You know, I've seen too much stuff in the snowboard world that clearly the decision, the brand decision or company decision has been made by someone who doesn't have snowboarding in as their first priority. it's been about money or about saving money or like, I'm not gonna name brands that I have not good stuff to say about, but for example, one brand that I dabbled with, they ended up cutting everyone and cutting my salary because they're like, they just went the route of like sponsor a bunch of kids that are mediocre but didn't want any money. And I'm like, well, you guys are already like, it's embarrassing for me how little you pay me, but they're like, well, we'll just get these kids. And guess what happened to them? Torpedo. Or like when people cut budget for like doing media properly or getting proper people because they're like, oh, it's too expensive. Well, what happens? They lose so much more. So
you also lose a lot of the pillars of snowboarding. Like, if you cut costs everywhere, eventually the best team manager has to move on, the best photographer, the best filmer, the best riders, and you're removing all these people that are like these like amazing strong pillars of like the snowboard soul and community. And when you remove all those, it just becomes this like, what is it?
It's a catastrophe.
If everyone just leaves, and it's like it's no longer this special thing.
No, it's not. And also with all these legends and with these people, and I guess this is in one sense, this is what I would say. Do whatever's actually the best for snowboarding, because these people are good for snowboarding. These, invest in people that have snowboarding as the first priority. Make snowboarding the first priority, not money, and keep, the livelihood of the company.
And I think like to bring it back to like the whole core thing we were talking about, the chorus boarders and the chorus brands can do it just as bad and just as shitty as the most corporate company that, you know what I mean? They both can fail at the task.
Oh, yeah.
The big thing is, are you supporting snowboarding? Are you giving back to snowboarding? Do the people, I like what you said there, but like, do the people who are supposed to be speaking on behalf of snowboarders, are they a snowboarder? And are they actually in a position to, do they understand snowboarding? Are they intertwined in the community? Do they realize that like Jess Camira's event that she just held, the Uninvited, is actually like a really important thing in snowboarding?
It's extremely
important. And like, airtime doing the Canadian Open, which was massive this year, which was absolutely crazy. Like, are you behind events like that? And
yeah,
I showed myself up,
dude. I missed that. I wish I could have been up there.
Yeah,
but no, I did absolutely.
You probably would have just cut. I don't know. It's a good thing.
It was a
sporty double to get up there.
Oh, dude, I grew up on the 97s, man. I grew up on the little guys. Sporty. Show you sporty. But no, dude, honestly, you know what I think? So after there was like the shitty winters plus the 08s, all the financial stuff, and like I know it's completely counterproductive to like corporate structure, but you know what would be the best for snowboarding? If companies just decided, fuck it, let's still make it accessible. Let's chop our prices. Let's cut our profit margins so that people can still snowboard and get snowboards when sales are down and more, stuff's so expensive. And it's like, yeah, you need to make a certain amount of money, but why don't you make half as much money and get twice as much people snowboarding? I realize it's so much more complex than that technically, but you know what I mean? Like,
I thought that the craziest thing I saw was I was scrolling through really old ads when I was doing the Dano podcast. And when I was doing that, I was flipping through, I don't know, magazines that were like early 90s. Dude, boards were $500 to $600. They're only like just under $1,000. So if you look at like, compare that to like eggs or gas or anything
like
else,
inflation
snowboarding is like a snowboard has gone up maybe 2 times, which I was kind of bitching and complaining about how expensive boards are and like they should be a bit cheaper. But when I realized that that's the price point, I'm like, okay, that's like, yes, we could cut costs on snowboards and stuff like that. I think the biggest thing is the price gouging from the actual mountains.
Dude.
Like a pass, we get that the season's pass is cheap, but the average person can't go that much, so they're not going to buy a season's pass. Make a lift ticket $100 so somebody at least every month can save up a bit of cash and go. $350, like come on. It's like, I get that it's expensive to run a hill. It's an expensive,
Well.
but $370 a day ticket is just like, how do you expect to have a healthy, thriving community when tickets are that expensive?
That's actually, and you know what? Like, dude, it's setting a precedent too. You know what happened to us this summer? Our resort in Bariloche, they just decided a month ago to double lift ticket prices. Just out of nowhere. And
I
it's
would
like,
love to see the spreadsheet because it does make sense to me on a business. Like,
no, it makes perfect business sense. But honestly, dude, it can't, like, it's the same as the snowboard industry stuff. It's still got to be about, dude, if companies are only trying to make money, only profits, that's their only thing they're looking for, it's not going to work. Like, there has to be like some love and support involved, you know? I saw people. Did you see that?
We need a mental shift.
Did you see that Killington? I saw something the other day. Killington had some like 250. I'm just shooting a dartboard. Like, they still had a slice of snow open last week. They went so out of their way to make sure that locals and pass holders could keep riding as long as humanly possible. 100 days more than like most of the resorts with the big veil passes, because they're looking for money. They shut it down. Like, that's the kind of move you want to see from people. Is like, dude, Killington could have been shut down easily a month ago.
Yeah, the extra effort is noticed.
Yeah,
Big time.
dude, love. Or like A Basin. I mean, dude, that place is crazy. They'll open up this little sliver. But yeah.
Is there anything that you have yet to cross off your bucket list in snowboarding that you still want to do?
I mean, there's just some certain little things. There's certain tricks, and I'm still convinced I'll get an opportunity to try them. I had some time off. There's a couple tricks in my head that I pretty much know I can do, or at least I want to go down trying. But it's a never ending list, right? It's a never ending list. But as far as all the stuff from like a snowboard career, the short answer is yeah. I mean, I've done more than I could have possibly imagined, you know, and had more opportunities I could have imagined. The traveling, the helicopter shit, filming, all this other stuff. But there's always gonna be more. But I think at this point, like, I'm definitely more than happy of where I got to, and I'm grateful. And honestly, like, you know, as fucking broken of a body as I have, I can still run around. I can still do stuff, so that's pretty cool. I can still snowboard. I can still have fun. But there'll never be an end to. There'll never be an end.
I think at one point you need to like fully look into your soul and just be like, you have to navigate your whole life as not the victim ever, and just be grateful and just be like,
Yeah.
I am a little bit sore and injured, whatever, and I have some nagging injuries because I was a stuntman for 30 years, but I traveled the world. I met all these crazy people.
Yeah.
I ate food in Argentina. I had wine there. I went to Japan. I went to Europe. I did all these contests. I met Travis
Europe.
Parker.
I'm saving up money. I'm gonna go to Europe.
Then do that.
But that's personal future stuff, and that's really cool though. That's the way I need to look at stuff as well. It's like, oh, I didn't get to do this in my career, but then
gratitude's the answer.
well, but what I need is like, okay, well, now I need to get my shit together, so I just save up and do it myself. Another goal for Alaska is to get my shit together so I can be. My dream has always been to be a client. Can you imagine being like, yeah, I was a camper one time at Camp Champions. Being an adult camper would have been the best.
Yeah.
But no, you know what? Looking back, man, honestly, like, the fact that I got the opportunities to even try, let alone do so much of this stuff, and completely leave it aside, dude. Again, virtually my entire life has been about snowboarding, which means that every friendship, every relationship, like, dude, snowboarding has provided me with meeting all these people, hanging with all these people like yourself, people that, like, there's too many we could ever count. And all of it's because of snowboarding and just mutual love for something. I'm really lucky. I'm really, really lucky for sure. If I just stayed in Ottawa, man, it's not that there's no snowboarding there, but
I like how you said it before. Snowboarding saved your life.
dude, yeah. And I think kind of continues to, you know,
It's the crazy. It's like the devil. You know, at the same time, it's like this thing that you love so much, but like at the end of a career with it, there is a point of like laying that thing to rest, Now that I'm older and I've had multiple friends who were sponsored put that down and move on, nobody the first couple years is like, that was easy. Some run away forever and stop snowboarding. They're just like, I'm done.
Yeah.
But like the break period that you took to kind of like reflect, digest of what's happening, because it's not going to be easy after 30 years of filming to just be like, I'm not doing that anymore. When you're picking up a hammer and going to work Monday to Friday and December 31st hits and you're like, oh, I don't need to start up my sled and go rush to film, and Sandslone's not calling me or Gerhardt's not calling me to meet
weird.
a lot.
It's weird to navigate all, but it's changed. It's changed, and I'm sure that, it's like, I think that I needed to go through, and not just with the snowboarding, there's a lot, everything converged on me. Luckily, when the whole world was all fucked up too, I think I got lucky with that one, but everything converged on me once, and it's the hardest. I can't believe I'm still here, but getting through and past all of that, like, I'm ready, I'm good. And honestly, like, just, it's like anything, a relationship or love. Like, if you have like a crazy breakup and it's devastating on you, well, it wouldn't have been devastating if it didn't mean anything, so it's easy to get through shit that's meaningless. So I think it would be weird for me to not be all fucked up and have all this stuff about it. But, I think getting through the past bunch of years with both snowboarding and just other life stuff has been like, I think that's it. Like, I can, move on and keep going. But I'll tell you what, I'm fucking not going to stop snowboarding. I'm never not going to have a pass again. That's for damn sure, man. That's just something I'm saying about go do a, hit run at 2 in the afternoon.
Yeah, and it becomes like this different thing when you don't have the stickers on your board, or at least the stickers aren't the focus anymore, and it's just about you. Yeah,
actually, someone was asking me about, some stickers or whatever when I was boarding, and like, now I still have big stickers, but that's just thank you guys for still, thank you everyone, thank you, the fact that people still. I mean, I'm sure it's not hurting them to have me riding their stuff, but I'm forever grateful, and I'm grateful for everything I've ever gotten, man. Like. Yeah, every last thing I've gotten out of snowboarding is, I'm lucky. I worked my ass off for it. I beat the shit out of myself for it. I'm very lucky.
The work that you put in, like the timeline of like, get up early in the morning, go sled, hit a step down, don't land, get up the next day, don't land, get up the next day, land, get the high, get that clip high, chase it, cloudy, sled breaks down, payment, work all summer.
God.
Like, that loop is vicious. And if you haven't done it before, it's like, holy shit.
I think that was it though too. It's just like, I had the blinders on. I was just trying to go into like, robot mode. Just keep going, keep doing it. Like, what am I doing? I don't know, but I'm doing it. I'm getting up.
But
and it was really fun. But
aren't we the luckiest people in the world to have found something that we're literally willing to not die, but risk it all for? We're so into this thing. Like, some people never find a thing to be into, and what a life that would be.
No, dude, I'm sure that most people could have never and will never experience this kind of passion for something, especially something that seems like
trivial. It's a piece of wood.
Sliding down snow, like, but it's like,
dress up in costumes and think you look cool.
Oh my God. Oh, I would skittle myself out so hard back in the day, but no, it's crazy. And I think like, and like I was saying, like something you're in love with, it's hard to move past, but I think most people never will love something or have something be so important to every aspect of their life. And it's funny again how it stretches. It's snowboarding, but it's everything else that made it and makes it the love of my life. If it was just snowboarding, I mean, that's cool, but it's everything. It's why I'm here. It's why I do other stuff. It's why I've been traveling. It's why I have the friends I have. It's why I go snowboarding. Whoever figured out sliding down snow on sticks is really smart. They really figured it out.
In one or two words, what makes it so fun? Like, why do you love snowboarding so much? We'll end with what we opened with.
Even after over 30 years, it's still surprising me. There's still more I can do. There's still, and maybe it's not trying new doubles or other shit. Dude, I can still figure out new ways to fuck around on a cat track that I haven't after decades. and it's always fun going up with your friends.
All right, we got 10 questions presented by Skull Candy. You can grab yourself a pair of those headphones over there. They're the
Ooh, some
rails, they're
Stellies.
wireless, and they're the best headphones that were ever made on planet Earth.
You know what? I had a little sponsorship by Skull Candy back in the day for a little bit.
I mean, they've been behind snowboarding since they're a snowboard company. That's how they started.
They're sick, and they also had the first headphones with a woofer put in. The Skull Crushers.
Really?
Oh, the Skull Crushers.
I didn't know they were the first.
I'm sure they were. I think they're the first because like this external thing. But anyways, they're good.
Yeah, shout out to Skull Candy. All right, best style currently and back in the day.
Back in the day, I love Turrier since forever. I'm Turrier fan. Best style now. You know what? Personally, Torstein. Actually, that's my personal and it's little subtleties that maybe people wouldn't notice, but it's just little yeah.
I like those picks. Career highlight.
Snowboarding wise, probably that back 10, but career highlight was the first time I got taken on a video premiere tour.
With Capita?
Yeah, because I just felt I was like, I don't know. It was very surreal. It was very surreal.
Who was on the tour with you?
It varied in different spots, but like Dustin, Kale for sure, Breezy was some of them, Koki was there for some of them, Jess was there for some of them, maybe all of them. Blue, Tidor, his team manager. But I don't know. I was just running around like an idiot. I was blown away. The one in Reno was the best. Got to sign some boobies. I'm like, ha!
I did it.
Yeah. Hey, Dad, guess what I did?
All right. Worst trend in snowboarding.
Mustache camber.
Oh, the double.
Yeah.
The double camber.
Just
I've never
messing
rode that.
messing with certain stuff. It hurts people. They think it makes it better for them. It's no good. Don't fix what ain't broke.
I know. I love camber snowboards.
You need at least between the bindings. Afterwards, whatever.
day.
But yeah.
Most underrated rider.
Now or in general?
Maybe one of both.
It's tight for in general, but Scott Brown.
Ooh, good pick.
And dude, actually Scott, the way he helped me get through some shit. Cause he had to get through some shit. He is, yeah, incredible. But now, Chase Josie, my boy Chase. I'm biased, but hell yeah.
What keeps you up at night?
My stupid brain. I have tinnitus and I have sleeping issues, and then yeah. I made teriyaki chicken breast this morning at 5. It's delicious.
It's delicious. You sound like you're from Austin Powers. Dream place to go snowboard. Your favorite place, basically.
Dream place to go snowboard? You're going to love this. In my dreams. I have both lucid and vivid dreams that I can control, and they happen a lot. So I get snowboard dreams, so I know I'm in a snowboard dream, so I can do fucking anything. It's like playing Amped.
What?
It's crazy.
I think I've only done that once, and I spun off a cliff, and then I kept spinning into the clouds, and I was like, this is so annoying.
Yeah, spinning all the way, and you're like ready to land, but
Yeah,
then you
but it
don't
doesn't
land. That's
happen.
like, yeah, it'll happen eventually. But no, and if I wake up, I can go back in. I'm blessed. So yeah, in my dreams. But actual dream place to snowboard, I want to go to the Alps because I still haven't been there.
Where's your favorite place to go?
Just in general, Whistler. That's why I live here. There's everything. The park's incredible. The trees are incredible. Alpine's incredible. Sledding's incredible. The homies are incredible. And my lazy ass can just walk to the lift. Well,
Perfect. All right, number 7. Favorite video growing up.
oh well, this actually we almost got there a couple times. The first video I actually owned was Whiskey 2.
Damn.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
That was the first one I physically owned. Yeah.
Was there anyone's part there that like kind of stood out to you, or a person?
It was everything, right? Because all the ridiculousness, but then Kern's opener, just like the soul riding, but then fucking Makepeace was hitting that was it Taj's gap? But in the spring, hitting road gaps in the spring on Whistler. Then there was some skating in there. It was just, I don't know, and it was the first one. Plus, the hijinks were hilarious too. My mom was so bummed when she realized what she bought me.
All right, number 9. Is AI awesome or shit?
It depends if the person's awesome or shit.
Good answer. All right, number 10. Who's the GOAT?
The GOAT. I mean, you probably tell from my riding what I like and whatever, but T Rice, man.
T Ricky all day.
Dude, period. Yeah. I'll still absolutely.
All right. Any shout outs or anything you would like to close with?
Man, I'd try to think of all the people, but there's no way, and I'd miss people. But shout outs to anyone I've boarded with that's helped me, and like I said, all you guys, dude. A shout out to everyone that's boarded with me, helped board with me, helped film, helped whatever, been good shit, high fives. Like, I'm a product of my environment for sure, and all this stuff that I've done, it doesn't matter that I'm capable of it. I never would have been able to do any of this. And here's a funny one. The probably most pivotal thing was Ken Ockenbach giving me a job for some reason when I was like 15. And that made me come out here and meet all these people and have like a direction. So thanks, Kenny.
Cheers to Ken. Burns, thank you for coming on the show. Huge fan. I've been a big fan of you since the first time I saw you wearing Mission 6 stuff. And I was also...
Those pants.
Those camo Mission 6 pants. And an even bigger fan now, and I think that I can speak for everyone who's listened to the end, that we're happy that you're doing better, that you're healthy.
Thank you.
And that you're around. And to anybody that is going through shit, because life is fucking hard, and it's not fucking easy, especially if you find yourself in a dark place right now.
Yeah.
Reach out, talk to your friends, talk to your family, and just take a look at your surroundings. It's hard when you get into a dark place to get out of it, but like realize that like stepping out is actually like the answer a lot of the time. Going to the gym, going for a walk, contacting somebody.
Change of any kind goes a long way. And one thing I do want to say on that note that's really important for people to understand, I think, is, there doesn't have to be something wrong for there to be something wrong. And people should reach out or try and talk and not be embarrassed about it, And that goes a long way, because I think a lot of people don't understand that sometimes. Like, what's wrong? Why is this happening? Why am I? There doesn't have to be something wrong for there to be something wrong. So if I can make it, anyone can make it, but it won't be easy.
Love you, Burns.
Love you, brother.
Thanks for coming on. Cheers.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, man.
Everyone be awesome to everybody. Just be nice.
Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely, dude.
Let's end on that. Just be
Everyone
nice.
Be cool. Don't
right.
be an asshole.
Yeah. Asshole is not the vibe. Yeah, snake people for the powder run.
Yeah.
But don't push the person so you can hit the rail.
Yes, there you go. Just be like, honestly, be stereotypical Canadian. We'll be just fine.
All right. Sorry, buddy.
Sorry. No, fuck you. Yep. Cheers.
All right. Peace, everybody. Take care of each other. Have a good life. Tune in
Thanks.
next week.
Thanks,
Peace.
brother.
The Airtime Podcast is presented by Van Shoes since 1966.
There's nothing fake about it. Have something to believe in and be yourself. You know what I'm saying?